Rush. Well,
Hello.
good day. Good day, E. Good day, Lee. Good day, YouTube. We're here for another Beer Dweebs United again. As always, we have no viewers, so I'm just wasting my time right now. But as always, questions are welcome. Comments are welcome. People are welcome to join. First and foremost, what are you guys drinking? I'm going to be trying to finish off, before I get into some good stuff, trying to finish off this 12-pack from Creemore I picked up when I returned my $60 worth of empties to the beer store. So I have my Creemore Pilsner right now.
Right on. Well, I am drinking whiskey tonight because I'm off the beer for a while, so I'm drinking Canadian Club 100% rye.
You're welcome.
Now-
Not that I gave it to you, but I assisted putting those in bottles, so that's what I do. But hey, whatever. I'm not having anything. I'm just having dinner actually right now. I just got home.
Ooh, you just got home. Oh.
Yeah, some of us have, inactive social lives, but I was out of the house nonetheless.
So here's a question: why are you off the beer for a while?
Just for the hell of it. I usually do it once or twice a year. Just take a month off. I haven't been doing it.
You chugging down the whiskey?
Yeah.
Okay, just just asking, just talking.
I get tired of it.
Down. Calm yourself down.
I'm
If you don't
perfectly
calm
calm.
yourself down, I'm gonna hold that 22-year-old bottle of Jolt Cola Mead that I'm getting tomorrow for you.
I'm perfectly calm.
Yeah, you should be. I wouldn't want to drink that either. Anyway, so like always, we're just gonna start with some beer news. He's eating dinner. He's drinking whiskey. I'm drinking Creemore. We're all doing great. First bit of beer news for Ontario is Stone is going to be distributing in Ontario February. That's when Stone distribution starts in Ontario. We're going to start with Stone IPA and Arrogant Bastard. So I know there's going to be a whole bunch of that up in E's house. He's going to have every bottle of them. Yeah.
I'll
He's gonna-
have all the beer.
He's gonna hoard the shit just because he doesn't want anyone to fucking drink it because he hates Stone so much.
I'll age that IPA for a couple of years. I did one recently. It wasn't too bad. I actually had that R&R coconut IPA after a year and a half or so in the cellar. Well, actually, it wasn't terrible. No coconut still, but whatever.
Yeah, there was varying degrees of coconut depending on what bottle you get, I guess, because sometimes if you let it age for a while, the coconut actually came out. Some people said so.
That's what I was hoping for, but it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. I'd probably have thought that way too, that it was going to come out afterwards.
By the way, we apologize, Ryan. I'm sure you're sick of hearing this by now. It's only been 2 years, and everyone's still going on about how there was no coconut in it.
Well, it's part of it. Just adds to my disdain for the whole place. Although I will say they do some awesome beers. Just
You heard it. You heard it here.
Oh
Here first. Strange Brewsings hates Ryan Rashawn.
no. Well, no. I'm just jealous. Jealous of the stash, the cellar, the hoard. That's all.
So, Le Brasseurs de Petite Sue from New Brunswick, which thanks to Nick, I had the great pleasure of trying 2 beers from. They'll be releasing Louis the 17th Amber Ale in bottles. Apparently, it used to be a draft-only thing, so it's great to see them continuing to bring stuff out.
Mhm.
And their art is so cartoony and so amazing.
Yeah. One of or actually a couple of people on the Avoiding Chores Hangout get bottles of their stuff every once in a while. So
Yeah, the bottles are so kid-like, yet so amazing at the same time. So next would be Beau's February, which is their celebration for February, and it's their own beer festival and all that. Every year they put out a bunch of bottles. I'm hoping to get some of these because I'm actually really curious. International Gruit Day is coming up, and they're putting out the OG, which is the original Gruit, is what they're calling it. For those of you that don't know, Gruids are basically beers with a lot more of of like an oat type of bill, but with no hops. It's going to use different botanicals, not hops, as
So
the
is this going to have no? Is this going to have no hops? Because I know the Bogfather and stuff had hops in it.
here with the Bogfather, the first few years they put one hop in the entire boil so they could sell it at the LCBO because it had to have
Oh.
hops in it to be beer. This year it has more hops in it than before. I don't know with OG, since this is going to be basically a sale at the brewery and at the festival itself. I would assume it's going to have no hops. It says here, all it says here is hand harvested bog myrtle.
So it would be interesting to compare that to the Bogfather and Bogwater, and just sort of like do a taste test and
Yeah.
see what the differences are.
So that one comes out on January 29th for retail release. February 5th comes out the Farm Table Mild Ale, and I'd really like to get my hands on that. Just because
Yeah.
it's a mild ale.
Yeah.
February 12th is Strong Patrick Irish Red. I've had that so many times that
Love that.
it's a really good beer, but you know what? I'd rather get some new stuff. So the first two are more interesting to me.
It's got a great label.
It does. It kind of looks like yours. February 19th is Liqueur Noir Black IPA. And that one is a collaboration with Jordan Reinhardt from Reinhardt Brewing, which will be opening, I believe, in Toronto soon. They're actually going to be opening in the same area, like just down the street from where Junction is trying to buy the old incinerator. And then last week is February 26th. They will be doing a mystery beer from the B-Side brewing label. And B-Side, for those of you that don't know, is the brewing label that did the Nordic Pale Ale. So I'm actually really interested in that one too. But yeah, that's the 4 beers that will come out in February. The 5 beers that will come out that month because they put one out right at the end at 29th. And yeah, 4 of them are new, and I want to get all 4 of them in all honesty.
That sounds like the most interesting thing they've done in quite a while. So
yeah, so that's the beer news from the Canadian Beer News. Anything going on out in your area?
No. Not that I know of. Again, I'm so far removed from beer news around here. So, which is shameful, I know, but I don't care that much.
Oh, Windsor's having a craft beer festival.
We are?
No, Sudbury, sorry. Yeah, Stack Brewing's putting one on. I'm kind of interested in how that'll go. The list of breweries that are going aren't very big because they're using most of the stuff just around there, but Stack makes some good stuff, so I'm kind of curious what they'll all come out with.
I'm sure it'll go well. I mean, it's Sudbury's way out there, so what little pocket of beer lovers there are, and I'm sure there are some out there, they'll make the trek, I think. They're just not going to venture down to Toronto and stuff like that, I'd imagine. So it should go okay.
Yeah, what's going on in your neck of the woods there, E? Anything?
Not a whole lot. I mean, I could go on about this or that in Michigan, but it's not really that relevant. And I mean, there's always new stuff. There's always somebody opening this and new beers here and releases that. It's just there's always something. There's too much to talk about. Really local, Hopcat in Detroit just opened up, and they're a big, well-known craft bar. Rated one of the better ones in the country up at Grand Rapids the last few years, and now they're a chain. And when they opened up last month, they had 120 different taps from shorts alone there on their opening day, and people were lined up down the street to get in. But apparently that place has been hopping, no pun intended, at Hopcat ever since. So. But I did contact them recently. I was curious about growler fills. They do that, so the amount of taps they have, that's nice to know, and it's like just a hop over the border. So I don't know. I'm excited for that. A lot of people in this area are. So.
Well, actually, since you're talking about growler fills, we can go right to that. Have you? Well, I did post it on the Facebook site. We've talked about them before. The new fancy stainless steel growlers that were out. Nickelbrook's now using them. They're going to be $30 each before you fill them. So They are a growler that, unlike glass, won't break. I mean, I don't know how many of you would pay $30 for the growler itself. I personally wouldn't, but then I played with these growlers before. I got to handle them before they were labeled and all that. They actually look amazing with the new Nickelbrook label and all that, because they have that science, the atom symbol and all that. So it
Yeah.
actually looks really good on the stuff. But I've handled these things. They're a little lighter than the glass ones. So I mean, if you were going to use them for, say, mailing a growler to somebody, they're not going to break. They're a little lighter. If you want to keep them in your car, like the Duchette said, yeah, they won't break. Uh, but yeah, I've handled them a couple times now. The handles, because it's basically like a mini keg. So you take a Coney keg, right? The half ones, the 20 liters. The top is like a Coney keg. It has the two handles, and then the spout comes up. But the spout only comes up about this much above the handle. So they're actually, I would think, almost impossible to pour into a glass while holding, because the handles again are like the keg handles.
You would need someone to pour for you while you're holding your glass.
Yeah, I think that's my only real issue with it, other than the price. I mean, I could pay it just for the one thing, but I mean, $5 growler, $30 growler, right?
Do they say that the beer lasts any longer in those ones compared to the glass?
They haven't said anything about that. I don't know if it's been tested, but I would assume so. I mean, even if you really wanted an even better seal on this, because it's metal on metal, just get some friggin' plumber's tape, like 45-cent roll of plumber's tape, and every time you go and fill it up, just wrap around the mouthpiece, like the grooves, put your cap on. No air is getting through there.
Yeah. See, they might be good if other breweries start adopting it, because then it might be a viable thing. But for right now, it's more of a kind of a niche.
And then it comes to question, how many breweries will still only fill up their growler, right?
Yeah.
Like, I could buy this Nickelbrook growler that will never break, and it would be an amazing thing if I could bring it from one brewery to another. But there are a lot that won't fill another brewery's growler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay it. I don't, I don't have anywhere to display it, and that's, to me, it's more that than it is functional.
Yes, they look amazing. They do have some plus points to them. I got to handle the samples when I was at Nickelbrook when they were thinking about using them, and I just don't know if they just don't seem like they would pour very well, because again, you have to hold. Again, the handles are at the top, the nozzles here above them, so you're holding the handle like this. It's going to hang like this. It could pour out, but unlike a real growler, you can't like hold it up to the glass, because those handles aren't going to let you get it up to the glass.
Yeah.
Yeah, no thanks. I don't drink enough out of growlers anyways for it to be worthwhile. So, I mean, if I was a real fan of Nickelbrook and if I was close by and I was always getting fills, and maybe, but
They're making a killing. If you only get a fill one time, you don't, once a year or something, they're making a lot of money off those fucking jars.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that. I don't know. I like glass. They just sit around. They pile up. I don't know what to do with them after a while, so I don't need stainless ones piling up.
Well, you guys have been in the basement before. I have that wall. It's just my growlers, and I mean, that's what I do with them. I usually use them once, and then they sit here.
Yeah.
I basically paid $5 to put a growler in my growler collection. I didn't like even paying the $15 for the Italian glass one from Innocente, which looks amazing, but I didn't want to pay $15 for that, let alone $30 for a metal one. But again, the metal one does look cool. I understand it has its benefits. Just putting it out there, asking people what they think of it. So
If they put a fedora on it, it might look better.
Oh, but they don't have. They have a atom symbol on the top of it, like on the actual lid and on both sides.
Put a cap the shape of a fedora on it.
Yeah, well, and a mustache
on
the atom. There you go.
Oh! Remember how we were talking about Brock Brewing Company versus Brock Street Brewing Company?
Wheels.
Well, Brock Brewing Company is in the paper in St. Catharines right now. They actually did not change their name because Wheels did not go through with his lawsuit, so they're still Brock Brewing Company.
Yeah.
And they're set to open in April, so we might just be there right before the festival.
Awesome. Fucking awesome. Support them, people. Show Wheels what a fucking asshole he is.
Yeah, we were talking about that just yesterday. Me and the owner of Brock, he was talking to me about what we had said about it because he actually watched the episodes. He talked about the nickname we gave him forever, and he was talking about how it was funny that the guy got denied his location, and now he's trying to open up somewhere else, and he got denied another location. Now he's trying a third location. He's like, each location gets further and further away from Brock Street, which is what he's trying to call himself.
You know what? I bet he's not even a real paraplegic. I bet he's faking, dude.
Oh man, it's probably true. But,
I've seen a lot of spinals in my day, and this guy's faking, dude.
yeah. Plus, the guy doesn't have any long-term vision. If you call yourself Brock Street, what happens when you want to expand and you're no longer on Brock Street? Are you still Brock Street? Like, what happens when you want to like take over the global market, like Greg Cook at Stone? You need Brock Street Brewing in Germany. It's not going to work.
There's Mill Street in Ottawa, Mill Street in Toronto, and Mill Street in Scarborough.
Hell, long-term vision? He can't even see over a fucking tabletop. I mean, come on.
Oh,
Hey, he brought it on himself. He's a jackass. I don't give a fuck.
Did they make good beer, that Brock Street, or is it?
Brock Street hasn't made any beer.
What do they make?
Nothing yet.
A lot of noise, and that's about it.
yeah, like a squeaky wheel, right?
I don't know if you noticed this yet, Big E. I actually was curious about it. I walked up to it, saw the price tag, and walked away. But Steam Whistle and Buffalo team up for beer and chocolate gift pack.
Yeah, I saw that. Nope. No thanks.
So
anything with Steam Whistle to me is just marketing. I don't buy into their whatever they're up to. I don't buy into. I want them to make different beers. That's all I care about.
Right.
So yes. Dufflet is a big artisan chocolate place in Toronto. It does make some amazing chocolate. So Steam Whistle teamed up with them. This is in the LCBO right now. What it is it's a collection pack. 6 Steam Whistles in a different box, and then a collective tin with 4 each of 2 different chocolate and beer creations. How different they can be when they're using Steam Whistle is beyond me. But here's the kicker. This is where I put it down and walked away. $24.95.
No. Are they proposing you're supposed to like pair the chocolate with Steam Whistle or some shit?
Yeah.
Nothing like Pilsner with chocolate. It just goes perfectly together. What?
God damn. Maybe if Steam Whistle started making like a Belgian quad or something like that, then maybe they might have a point, but come on.
Yeah. Steam Whistle's missing the mark. They should be teaming up with Pringles. That's what it goes with. Potato chips and Pilsner.
Steam Whistle's too stuck in a niche. They're
And they do kind of branch out, but only a few times a year and only right at the brewery.
Yeah.
And I mean, like the Steam Whistle Plus, basically a Keller beer, basically unfiltered Steam Whistle, pretty good. They actually had a rye version too. They made a version of Steam Whistle with rye instead of just Pilsner malts. Didn't get a chance to try that. Like they have made a few different ones now, even though they swore they never would. But they're basically still saying the same. They're just doing a Pilsner with different variations. But even that's enough to give them something different. But $24.95 for 8 chocolates and 6 beers? No, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, if they went the Jack's Abbey route or whatever, that brewery that just does lagers, I mean, they could, they could they could get something going with that. But if they're just going to make the same old goddamn Steam Whistle all the time, then it's like.
And I mean, I'm not saying Steam Whistle's bad at all. I can actually enjoy a fresh Steam Whistle or a Steam Whistle right off a tap. I can enjoy that. I can sit back. I can enjoy it. But what's a 6-pack Steam Whistle cost at the beer store or LCBO? Isn't it like $14? So I'm paying an extra $10 for 8 chocolates.
And I could go buy a bottle of Chimay Blue and like some cheap chocolate and get a lot more satisfaction out of that.
I've only seen that in 12 packs. Steam Whistle.
Oh, you're not in Ontario.
Do you guys get 6ers? Or?
Yeah, you can get.
I've only seen their one beer. Oh, okay.
That's all there is. It's the one beer.
Nobody's getting them suitcases.
By the way, hello, Beer Zerker. What are you drinking tonight, sir?
My last chain breaker from Deschutes, and I got from Schmaltz the Hebrew Messiah Nut Brown Ale.
Ooh.
It's not that good. Alberta. Jesus.
Oh.
The distro at Alberta just makes me just want to vomit. It's bullshit. But I'll be going out there this summer, so I'll get to enjoy the fruits of that and all that fun stuff out there.
Yurt enjoys fruits. You heard it here first.
Yes, sir. Look at my avatar.
Oh, another little tidbit of new things from Ontario. is Trafalgar just started up a new website. The website has a lot of interesting things. I'll get to some of it in a second. One of the things is it's now not just Trafalgar Ales and Meads, the Trafalgar Club. The Trafalgar Club. They actually opened up a craft distillery on premises too, which just tells you how much craft distilleries actually are booming when Michael Arnold jumps on it. But he has this, and this is actually interesting. It's the miracle that takes place within a whiskey barrel has always been intriguing and a bit of a mystery to whiskey drinkers. To this end, the Trafalgar Club has launched the My Own Barrel program, which allows you to customize and purchase all the ingredients to age your own whiskey. You choose the size of barrel, the type of wood, the degree of peat, and the style of whiskey, and then we set it all up for you in your own home. Just doesn't get any better than that. That actually does sound pretty cool. I mean, I'll give that. That sounds pretty cool.
And 12 years later, you get to try your whiskey.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, it sounds pretty cool.
That's quite the investment.
It is probably.
I'm very skeptical.
I'd rather buy from the people who actually know how to make whiskey and age whiskey in barrels than stick one in my home and wait 12 years for it to fucking blow up in my face.
And typically, when things are removed from the barrel, things are done to it before it goes into a bottle, not the inverse. You know, like, oh, put it in there, it's just going to come out, it's going to be good to go.
You usually blend it and filter it, and
they'll put a bunch of stuff in there, right? But
and you know what? If you go on Ralphie's stuff on YouTube, he has videos about how you can improve your bottom of the barrel whiskeys with simple little techniques. You don't need to age your own whiskeys in barrels and shit. If you have just a sort of semi-okay 12-year-old blend of something, he shows you little cheap ways that you can actually, make it taste better right out of the bottle. You don't have to go through this extensive process and wait 12 years for it to happen. So if you're really interested in doing that, if you're really that desperate, you don't want to pay the money for a quality whiskey, then just look at his channel and do that stuff. Don't buy this crap from Michael Arnold because it's a bunch of garbage.
Yeah.
Well, he also has all of his beers listed here now, right? So let's see. The Hop Nouveau, usually an okay beer. The ESB, I don't think I've had the Trafalgar ESB. I've had the other stuff, the Allura ESB and all that, which is probably the exact same beer. The Honey IPA, actually a good beer. The Smoked Oatmeal Stout, passable. Maple Leaf Lager, fuck you. Chocolate Orange Porter, okay, passable. Polar Vortex, this is coming out soon. I actually want to try that one. Gingerbread Strong Ale, for some stupid reason, I want to try that one too. Irish Brown Ale, actually not a bad beer. Harbor Gold, again, fuck you, Michael Arnold. Celtic Pure Irish Ale, again, fuck you, Michael Arnold, because that's the exact same beer as your Celtic Red Ale, which you had under the Allura name, and you had them both being sold at the same time at an LCBO, which actually is technically illegal. Red Hill Mild, would like to try that. Bock Lager, no thank you. Paddy's Irish Red, no thank you. Cognac Aged Porter, yes, your 5% alcohol porter is cognac barrel aged.
What?
Northern Harvest, not a bad beer. Maple Bock, I really liked it the first time I had it. Celebration Ale, would like to try it. Never had it. Again, I'm not a huge fan of his. You guys know that. But when he makes a good beer, I give him credit. He makes a good beer. I just hate him.
His meads are good.
And his mead, yes. He actually has 5 meads now listed. I've had 4 of them. The only one I haven't had is his cranberry mead. I'm kind of curious on that. Then we get into the last 2 things, right? His craft distillery. So,
I'm questioning if he's distilling on site or if he's just buying.
No, he actually has the distillery built on site. He has the still there.
Interesting.
He has moonshines, an apple pie moonshine, a blueberry moonshine, a hot chili moonshine, a raspberry moonshine, a blackberry moonshine, and a strawberry moonshine. These are served in the growler jugs, like the cider jugs, and in jam jars. That's what you can buy them in. Then his actual liquors are the same thing. He has barrel-aged rye, Trafalgar vodka, Trafalgar gin, Trafalgar white rye. Until I got to those 3, I was okay. As soon as they had Trafalgar on the name, I don't know if I really want them anymore.
Here's the question, like, he's starting this up, so he hasn't been aging any of this stuff previously before he started up, right? I mean...
No, and none of those are aged. When you say white rye, that means, it's...
Yeah, white rye is just distilled in a bottle.
So you're getting new makes. He can't even call this shit whiskey or anything like that. Like, it's just new makes.
technically you can't call it Canadian whiskey because it has to have a minimum of 3 years in it, so it's just whiskey.
Yeah,
whatever it is.
And those flavored ones, I can't see them being over 40%. So I don't know.
I think they're 44. 1 second. Let me open one up. I'll tell you in 1 second. I'm actually on his page right now because I don't memorize his stuff. I don't care to.
The vodkas and the gins and moonshines are also things that never see age. So
yeah,
the apple pie shine is 40%. So they're all 40%.
Okay. Well, those sound intriguing. I'll say this because
I'm actually intrigued about the shines. The shines, though, are expensive as you would expect. A 250 milliliter jam jar, $15.
Yeah.
A 4-pack of them, just under 60. You're saving like $1. One 750 is 40.
Yeah. No, I'm not intrigued anymore.
No. It's just anything that's not seeing any time. That's what you pay for. And if you're not seeing time, you're just basically buying freaking jungle juice.
I can buy a 750 of this, which is a really nice quality whiskey.
His vodka is the same price as the shines. The gin, same price as the shines. The white rye, same price as the shines. The barrel age, actually, the barrel age is the same price too. That doesn't make much sense.
No.
That one should actually be.
Well, how much time's in the barrel? Like 3 months, maybe. You know.
Is he innocent gunning this stuff or?
Yeah.
They use white Canadian oak, American oak, and French oak barrels.
Oh, ooh la la.
So the same stuff people put beer in, wherever it's coming from.
You know what?
As
his barrel aged rye program gets better, like as it goes on longer, his barrel aged rye will probably taste better as there's more flavors being added to the wood. And
you should hope so, yeah.
But whether or not that happens, who knows?
Yeah, but this sounds overpriced. It sounds kind of hipsterish, quite frankly. It sounds like he's, trying to hype it up more than what the product's actually going to be. I mean, I can't speak on the actual product, but it doesn't sound all that promising now, especially considering the prices he's trying to charge for them. I mean, I can buy a 750 here of Canadian Club, 100% rye, for under $30. And although I can't 100% say for sure, I'm pretty much positive I'll get a lot more enjoyment out of this bottle of rye than I will any of his little gimmicky moonshines and stuff he's making. So.
All right. Do we have any comments before we move on?
Yeah, we do have a few here.
Okay. You go on, Mr. Comment Boy. I'm going to pour a Keller beer.
Hey, comment man. Winter is coming, says, I'm also off the beer for the entire month of January, counting down the days. Lee Poznansky says, how are you guys doing tonight? I think we're all doing well, sir. How are you doing? I'll just speak for everyone right across the board. We're all doing fucking fantastic. Bylog says, good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Greg. Why the fuck are you not in the chat? And Devin King, why the fuck are you not in the chat either? He says, get Brock Brewing at the Albino Rhino Festival.
I asked them. They didn't seem that interested.
Oh, we got Guy in here.
Hello. They were very interested in us going to the brewery, but they didn't seem interested in going to another festival. Probably because they haven't started manufacturing under that license yet, so they're still waiting to find out if he will actually sue them or not.
Yeah, it's understandable.
Once the building's open and they start brewing under that license, there's a lot less that can be done to them. But, yeah, right now, they had to pull out of the festival in the summer in St. Catharines because of that lawsuit, so I think they're just waiting.
What are you drinking tonight, Guy?
I have the Brassard Illimité Imperial Stout Asian Bourbon Barrels.
Ooh, I'm jelly. I'm very jelly.
11.75%.
Nice.
And yeah, for those of you that don't know, Devin is Colgate on the Albino Rhino Beer Review. They did just release his first commercial brew. He did make a after-season pumpkin ale at Innocente where he works. It's a pumpkin brown ale.
Oh, interesting.
Yep, came out just a week or so ago. So yeah, apparently all the reviews so far have been pretty good.
Yeah. Is it supposed to be like on the spicy side? So is it like a spicy brown ale?
He's in the chat. Maybe he can answer us. I haven't
Come
tried it
on.
yet.
Come on, Devin. Come on.
Well, we're sitting here waiting on that. Yeah. What do we have here? We have... Oh, South River. I know that E had said some things about loving South River, too. South River Brewery insulted by the beer store's olive branch. For those of you that don't know, me and Joe actually met the owner of South River. He's the guy that actually contacted me about not being in the beer festival. He goes, "We talked for an hour at the festival, and you didn't invite me." I'm like, "You didn't respond to my email." Well, I'm responding now. Let me in. He's an older Scottish guy. He's actually pretty cool. But he has basically in this article told the beer store off. It's great because he's Scottish, so he just doesn't care.
And he probably asked for money as well.
True. But yeah, it's actually a great article. It's on the Albino Rhino Beer Review Facebook site if you guys want to read it ever. All the stuff we talk about is usually shared on there too. Another article out there, which is great because it's from the CBC. So again, we talked last week and the week before about how internet journalism just doesn't seem to matter anymore, and the people that even legitimate companies hire don't seem to care when they're doing something. And this CBC headline is craft beer bellies threaten hipster waistlines. And then they're talking about how people are getting bigger by drinking so much beer.
Oh, really?
And their pants are getting bigger and they can't fit into their pants anymore. And
So anybody with a beer belly is now a hipster. They just told you.
It's an epidemic. It's terrible. I mean, What are we going to do? What are we going to do?
I mean, I'll admit I read that headline and I laughed my ass off because it wasn't a satire article; it was actually being serious.
Yeah, because that sounds like an Onion. It sounds like the Onion, doesn't it? It straight up sounds like an Onion article. Like, I mean, it's bad when the legit news is outdoing the fucking Onion as far as their stories go. I mean, we've reached that point now. It's just fucking ridiculous.
I completely agree, and it's hysterical.
It's like, thanks for reminding me, assholes.
Yeah. Thanks for making me feel more depressed. I'm gonna drink some more beer.
Here was a Facebook post from a gastropub in Dallas, and I love this post because I actually agree with it quite a bit, and it goes along with a lot of the things we've been saying. It goes along with the link that you posted earlier today on my personal site, Lee, from Beer Geek Nation, and like he said, it's one of the few videos of Chris's that I can actually get behind because usually I just want to slap him. But yeah, here's the Facebook post. Man, we absolutely and obviously love beer and the beer business, but we get really worn out by the vocal minority. You know who you are. Rare beer stalkers, haters of everything, Facebook trollers, people who complain when a bar they visit 2 to 3 times a year, only for whales, bra in brackets, doesn't set up a system to ensure the non-loyal whale hunters get the rarest of beers at the expense of the sweet, sincere folks who support our business 52 weeks a year, and who we know by name. Some beers are amazing, some are beyond amazing, but the good people in the craft beer world are no better than any beer. Are mo better than any beer on earth. I'd rather drink a Sculpin with someone who really appreciates beer than drink a Cantillon with one of the asshats who only wants beer in numbered bottles. Sorry, not sorry. We just want to love beer and have fun. Love that post. Love that post. It goes exactly to what I've been saying for weeks, for months, for years now, and I love that post.
Yep, I 100% agree. That's what beer culture really should be about, and unfortunately, with every hobby, with every little fan base, whatever, there's always the little minority of asshats running around trying to ruin it for everybody else because they can't exist in actual society as functioning adults, so they have to fuck around with other people.
Yeah.
And that's the way I see it anyway. It's just people who have some sort of social disability. They can't function as adults, or they feel small in the real world. But oh, I'm a big nerd in the beer culture, and I get all the whales, so I'm important, and I can look down on people.
That's true. Yeah, I'm a big shot on Beer Advocate.
Mm-hmm.
Because I make funny posts, or I'm generous, and then I win trades, and then I've joined a mule group, and so they basically walk in like they own the place, and
yeah.
But it's a lot about maturity too, and most of these guys are younger guys. I don't think that's typically the case when you got mid-30 plus grown-ups. They don't typically behave that way, and they're the ones actually getting turned off more so than anybody else, because it's becoming too much work, too much hustle just to have a good beer. So it's like, fuck all that. There's good beer everywhere. It's.
That's the thing.
Well, yeah, there's shelf turds everywhere, like you said. I mean, you can still find Big Rig Wee Heavy all over LCBOs or around Ottawa and all that. This is a great beer. It just sits there because it's not as well known. You can still get. Actually, we have shitloads of this. I buy one of these every time I walk into the LCBO now. Midwinter Blot in a new bottle. And a new bottle, I guess, since they started selling really well, they rebranded it. But It actually is in a great little bottle, and it's an amazing beer.
It is.
Every time I walk in, if I don't find anything new and I'm buying just something for myself, there's Thornbridge all over my LCB. Nobody touches Thornbridge. That beer is actually really good, and it's actually not a bad price for a pint coming from the UK in a bottle. I mean, you're getting it for like $4. $4.50, something like that. That's not a bad price for a pint from the UK of a really good beer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's. I think another thing is that you were sort of hit on there is you see the older, more mature people in the hobby or the fan base, whatever little niche it is. They don't even bother speaking out against the younger, less mature people who are pulling this shit. It's like they just don't want to make waves. They don't want to bother criticizing these people. They want to keep it positive, and they just want to keep doing their thing and having fun. So that's why these people sort of
these people that get to do it, but they're also the same thing as just fanatical group in anything else. Anything you say just gets blown out of proportion and fought on.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Just you talk to anybody that's fanatical about anything, even a sports team. Well, the sports team did this wrong. What?
Yeah.
It's just you can't talk to them.
I think it just with the maturity, it just comes to the point where it's like you don't want to make waves, you don't want to start a big fucking war, and just make it not about what you actually give a fuck about. So.
Yeah, for some people, it's all they got going in their lives. They may have, they're young, they got some entry-level job, and they're out of school, and then they find a little community where people, are like them, and they start geeking out and nerding out. Like, it just then becomes competitive. It's the only thing they got really that's sort of successful in their eyes, in their life.
You just hurt my feelings.
Oh, honey.
Yeah, but let's face it, Chad, you were never really all that successful in it anyway.
Oh!
No, I wasn't.
I mean, this guy can't even keep glasses without chipping the shit out of them, so.
There's two chipped glasses on my shelf. One of them just keeps getting more chips. I don't even know where they're coming from. The fake Teku there, it now has like 3 chips on it, and they're in different spots. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? I drink out of this glass by myself, now I rinse it in the sink, I put it away. Because I'm the only one that touches it, and I don't even review out of it anymore. How the fuck's it still getting chipped?
You're rinsing too hard.
Yeah, no, you see, you need, that's the problem. You need a good pint shaker glass, and you won't have that problem.
It's a good thing I don't have any Z stems.
Yeah, well, I hear those things. I hear those things break quickly.
No, they don't. They're actually quite sturdy. You'll see soon enough. Keep flapping your gums, and you're gonna get one. I just gotta get a few more mail out. Actually, I'm trying to find a place where I can put a fun little graphic on it, on the cheap. And if I do Heads up, guys.
Did you ever think that's what me and Lee are doing, is purposely trolling you so that you send us one?
Well, of course. But I have to put like a little whale or something on it, just
Just
just so you know what it is. It's your little whaley glass. Just for
you should get that little white whale that you had there.
Yeah, exactly. I am. I'm trying to find somebody to put that on a glass. That's exactly.
I got to email Zenon again. I emailed them on Friday for quotes on my glassware for the festival, and they still haven't responded to me. And I made it easy for them too. I'm like, this is who I dealt with last year. This is the glass numbers I want. This is the quantity I need quotes for. This is the emails you can send it. Nothing still. So I'm gonna have to send it out again.
Just they really want your business.
Yeah, just for the record, I do not use reverse psychology on people. I do not want all of your rare beers sent to me.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a article I posted today. There's like 6 different ones out there. This one's from Mental Floss. There's a bunch of other. BuzzFeed did an article about it recently too. And all that. All different. Well, each one did different beers. I think this one did more beers that are more attainable, shall we say. BuzzFeed did like it's 10 of the world's most expensive beers. This one did more beers that you might spend money on, where BuzzFeed did like the $2,000, $7,000 bottles type of things. So I'm going to read the beers, I'll tell you what the price is, and I'll tell you the size, and then you say whether or not you would buy it. So yes, no, or maybe, meaning if the time and the place and the money was right. Mm-hmm. Sapporo's Space Barley. So this is one made with moon dust. $110 for a 6-pack.
No.
Maybe.
No.
Someone already did that. Dogfish already did a moon dust beer.
Yeah.
A little late to the party.
What does the moon dust add to the beer?
You get a chest buster right after.
This was done. This was done before Dogfishes, though. This started getting made in 2006.
What possibility does dust from a dead rock in space add to your beer?
Space powers.
Money that you can charge.
Yeah, fuck Sapporo. Fuck
Okay.
Dogfish Head.
I would.
Okay, you would. No, or was that sorry, I wasn't in the window. Was that? How about you, E? Would you do it?
No. Never. No.
Okay. Beer Zerker?
I missed the whole thing. What are we talking about?
Oh God.
You don't have to read I was outside. Sorry, I just took off for a minute.
We're going through the 10 of the world's most expensive beers and whether or not you would buy them. The first one was Sapporo's Space Barley, which is made with moon dust. It's $110 for a 6-pack. Would you possibly pay that or no?
There's no way it could be that good.
Okay. And Ron's here, so good day, Ron. And would you do it?
Oh, no way. Heck no.
Okay. So there's 1 yes, there's 1 maybe, and 4 no for that one. Then we have a Crown Ambassador's Reserve, $90 for a 750, and no.
What was it supposed to be?
It's aged in French oak for 12 months. It's that's just aged in French oak for 12 months.
No, I'm not paying $90 for that. Fuck that.
Nope.
Yeah, they're getting everyone's aging it in oak for 12 months now. You can get it for $8.
Would never do it.
Okay, that's 4 of us that know. How about you, Guy?
Nope.
And Mr. E? We'll say Mr. E would.
No.
Yeah, he will.
No. Anything on that list is a no.
Anything? Okay.
Yeah. Ah, interesting.
We'll see.
Unless wait. Unless Utopias is on there.
Teuton Camon Ale?
Tutankhamun?
Yeah, $75 for 500.
What's special about that other than it has a dead Egyptian pharaoh's name on it?
Mummy dust?
No, he's using a 3,250-year-old recipe.
Doesn't Dogfish Head do the same thing with Midas Touch? They don't charge that much for their beer.
I'm just telling you what it is.
Yeah, I'm not
Apparently,
gonna
the first bottle of this sold for $7,686.
Oh,
Now
come on!
they've dipped since then to $75 a bottle.
That man must have so much wax in his mustache. I tell you.
What was the recipe? Barley and water? I mean, I mean, what did they have back? It would have been just an old school hop, some bread.
No, they don't. They didn't even have hops back then. So it would have been some sort of botanicals that they had in the region.
And it would have
barley
been
in a pot. Oh yeah, it's a pot full of barley.
Nile fungus or some shit.
Oh man, that'd be easy to make.
Crocodile moth.
So can I say no from all of us on that one too?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Unless it came with a $500 rebate off the purchase of a new car.
There you go.
This recipe is like what 3,000 years old. I got this for $17, so thank you.
Oh wow.
Brewdog Sink the Bismarck, $80 for a 375.
What's special about this one?
It's 41% alcohol.
No.
How much?
It's a quadruple IPA that's 41% alcohol.
No.
What's the price?
$80 for a 375.
Oh, maybe.
Cheaper than Utopia's.
I could.
You could go buy hard liquor. You could go buy some hard liquor for that.
I could buy buy 3 bottles of this right here.
No, I understand all that. I'm not going to say yes. I'm going to say maybe, just because I want to try everything. Maybe. If I won the lottery and I had money in my pocket, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's definitely maybe.
No, there's no maybe on any of those so far for me.
I'll split it 48 and 40 with Chad.
You neither. No way. I don't care how much
Actually,
money you have.
we could do that, Guy. We'd go 40-40.
Yeah.
Next one, Sam Adams Utopias, 150 for 700. Probably.
If
I've tried it now. Now that I've tried it and I know how good it is, it's basically a really fine whiskey. I'd probably do it.
I might.
Cognac would probably be a better thing to say. A really fine brandy type of thing.
Maybe if I was splitting the cost with somebody.
Yeah, then in case, yeah, maybe.
I do it. I drink it all myself.
That sells it, but I don't think I'd pay it.
No.
I'm gonna say no. Like unless you had a party, like you say, and everybody pitched in. That
We just break into what's his face Cook's house and just steal a bottle.
You could do that too.
Yeah.
Okay, number 6 is Schwarzbrau's Schwarzbach 57, which is $275 for a 330 milliliter bottle. No thank you.
Whoa.
Nine.
What's it? A Schwartz beer, basically? Schwartz Black Bach or some shit?
57.5% alcohol. It claims to be the strongest beer in the world, according to master brewer George Tisha Schoner or whatever. A higher proof beer would violate the Germany's 500-year-old beer purity law.
Yeah, whatever. That's a bunch of bullshit. That sounds like they're just dickering with the thing, like BrewDog does some of their stuff. It's not even really beer.
Oh, the folks at RateBeer.com gave it a paltry 20 out of 100.
Wow.
Must be good then.
Little too steep. Their mommy and daddy's bank accounts couldn't afford it for them. So
this one's a big old,
That's probably true.
This one's a big old no for me as well. Carlsberg's Jacobson Vintage, $400 for a 375.
what?
Oh, giving that away. Giving that away. You get to have dinner with the King of Denmark?
Yes. No.
Hell, he better hand over one of his concubines in that case.
Its expiration date is 2059.
Yeah, that ain't beer. That ain't beer. Sorry.
Here's one I know Lee will say yes to, and only because it's actually, you know what, I would never pay this price, but I kind of want an empty bottle. A BrewDog's The End of History, $765 for a 333 milliliter bottle, 55% alcohol. These are the bottles that are put inside dead animals, so squirrels and stuff.
Oh yeah, I just want the hell out of that. Fucking dumb. I mean, I can sort of applaud BrewDog in a way for their gimmicky bullshit because it gets some attention, and apparently they do make some really great beers. But there's no way I'm ever buying one of their gimmicky beers because it's just no. It's not happening, and most of the gimmicky beers are not even really beers, from what I can see. So
Doesn't sound like it.
yeah.
Let me say this in defense of BrewDog. I'm not defending their stupid beers, but I bought some. No, a store gave it to me. It was BrewDog's Hardcore IPA. It was about 3 or 4 4-packs, of the I guess it's 11.2 ounce bottles, 330 milliliter, and they were about 6 years old. IPA now, 6 years old, and they were still remarkably hoppy and bitter. So that was pretty impressive. That's a pretty strong beer too. Hardcore, I think it's like 10%. I don't know, something like that, 8%.
Okay, here's one that I actually would pay for. It's 700 milliliters. It's 6% alcohol. It's Chinese. It's $44. Pabst Blue Ribbon, 1844.
Ah, you beat me to it. I was about to say that. I knew about that beer.
They also do the Pabst Blue Ribbon Black over there too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually curious about them both. Basically, this is a beer that they made to fight against wine and liquor. And what is it? They actually put this in here, and I'm not saying this because I actually don't mind the PBR. I can drink it if I have to. It's not the same blue-collar swill PBR sells in America. It's made from German caramel malts and aged in uncharred American whiskey barrels. I don't think I've ever had a beer aged in uncharred barrels, other than Virgin Oak.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I don't. I give enough money to China already. I don't need to give them any more.
I might jump on that. I've seen photos of it. It's a pretty sharp-looking bottle, and it comes in a box and all. How much is it again?
$44. So it's actually the cheapest beer on this list, unless you count the Sapporo beer that was $110 for 6.
Chad, I might be tempted to buy that one. Maybe that gimmick has got me bought.
Yeah, at that price, it's actually not the worst priced beer I've seen. I would possibly try it, especially if I found a second person that wanted to share it with me. $22 each. Fuck, if I even found 4 people, $11 each, and we split a 700, that's still
700.
Yeah.
Okay, I would say a maybe if I was splitting with someone then.
Yeah.
Because that would be kind of unique, but otherwise no.
Maybe.
Alrighty, this one. How about you, E?
No.
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 For
Here's
myself
Richard.
as a buy, no way. If it was like,
But
I
I mean-
buy one, no way.
$40 for 700, and that's on the list for expensive beers?
Yeah, that's what I said. I went with the mental floss list just because they seem to be using more approachable beers. They weren't looking at the $2,000 bottles that none of us would probably touch anyway.
Okay.
It would have to come with the Teku glass, right?
Yeah, he'd have to get a Z stem with it.
Yeah.
Well, I know what.
If it had a PBR Z stem, he would be all over it.
And no, I don't. I was gonna say there are other craft brewers playing in the U.S. that have beers priced at $40, $50 for $7.50. There's lots.
Yeah,
of those.
you have the Eclipse beers that are $30 to $40 just for, and they're 500s, aren't they? Or 650s?
I don't know the Eclipse. I don't know what size those are. I've never seen one in person.
Okay.
I will say, like, Hill Farmstead had a lottery recently to buy Ann, which is a barrel-aged saison for $45, and then you got a $5 service charge. It ends up being like $55 for a beer for one bottle. So, and that's like a saison at like probably 7% or something like that.
Okay, the last one on the list is Nail Brewing's Antarctic Nail Ale. It is between $800 and $1,800 for a 500 milliliter. 10% alcohol.
I'll stick with the Black Albert that I bought for $10.49 for the same size bottle.
Yeah.
Also, you know already.
Yeah, no.
Oh, it's made for animals. 100% of profits go to the Sea Shepherd Conservative Society.
Yeah, I donate to the animal shelter locally. I don't need to overpay for a beer just to help out some other dogs and make me feel better. It's all right.
Yeah.
And I know with like wines, when people buy the real expensive ones, they're usually not that good to drink. They're just like collecting hockey cards. Like seriously, like they're not drinking them. They're keeping them, and then they might eventually sell them to someone else who wants a little bit more.
I think you got something there, Berserker. Peachy should come out with a line of beers.
Yeah.
So they don't ever drink the wine.
Most of them don't, because most of it's shit wine. Like as ancient as not, you can't age wine too long. Certain ones, or it just kind of goes to shit. Like when a wine's 400 years old, I mean, it's not going to taste very fucking good.
Yeah, but at that point, you're just buying a piece of history. You're not experiencing it or anything. You're putting it on your mantelpiece, right?
Well, I
Just
mean,
like buying a sculpture.
People buy Black Pearl. Black Pearl is $30,000 a bottle. People buy it and they drink it. It's a blended cognac. It's the oldest cognac in it is 500 years old.
Well, you see, that stuff would probably last. That has a much better chance of lasting than just a standard
Now,
wine.
apparently, there's 36 bottles left in the world. The distillery still owns 2 bottles. They sold 6 bottles last year, and 1 bottle they actually had to take back because it was bad from selling.
Yeah. I mean,
like I watched, they had a thing where they retrieved bottles of wine out of a ship that had sank from Portugal or wherever, and they were drinking it, and they said, "Well, it wasn't that shit hot of a wine, but it, they're worth a lot of money. Those bottles are worth a fortune."
Well, they're especially worth a lot to distillers, and then also it goes with beer. So there has been cases where they found shipwrecks with bottles of beer at the bottom of the sea in these ships, and they opened them up. Of course, the beers were probably incredibly garbage by then, but they could take the yeast, and some breweries have taken the yeast and made beers out of that yeast strain, right? Like, so I mean, there is value in that for like breweries and distilleries, but that's a rare thing anyway. So we do have some comments here. I just should get to. Winter is Coming says, I've noticed that the LCBO now has Innocent Gun Whiskey Porter listed. Is this new to the Ontario market, or is it returning seasonal? Is it worth the purchase?
Whiskey Porter will be a new one. I actually reviewed it, and the review's up online. It's actually not a bad beer. It's not a bad beer. Is it worth the purchase? I don't know. What's the price they have on it?
Yeah.
For the most part, most Innocent Gun products are worth the purchase if the price is right. I actually will jump on most Innocent Gun products that are under $4 a bottle. If it's over that, I usually steer clear of it, even if I love it. I actually bought possibly for tonight, a bottle of Rare Oak IPA, especially now that they're in the brown bottle, so I don't have to drink them right away. They're $3.25 a bottle, a little expensive for a $3.30, but you know what? It's actually a good beer. Not a bad price when you consider the prices in Ontario for other things.
Yeah. Bylog says the problem with craft distilleries is that in order to make their money back, they often have to overcharge for a product that you would be less. That would be less from a bigger
Greg,
producer.
that is right and wrong. They only have to overcharge if they want to sell it at the LCBO, because the money they make at the LCBO isn't all that much. And again, if you watched Straight Up, you've seen what they make on a bottle of liquor. It was actually intriguing to see what whiskey makes, and it's such a small margin. It's not even funny unless they charge more. But so that's the reason they're charging more, because they're trying to make their markup. But if they're just selling it out of the distillery itself, they could sell it cheaper if they wanted to.
Yeah. He says unfortunately for Ontario producers, there's no shortage of excellent aged Canadian whiskeys for well under $50, which is true. It's a hard market to get into at this point, I think. Ewart probably has a better grasp of that.
What was the question?
Oh, he was commenting about craft distilleries and the market margins. And his last comment is true too, which is unfortunately for craft distilleries. There's so many good Canadian whiskeys for under $50 available.
Yeah. Devin says, Lee, I'm without a headset. I'm going to really make an effort next week. As far as the beer I got to brew that was talked about, the beer I released was a 4.2% pumpkin beer, brown ale called It's the Late Pumpkin Barley Brown. Yeah, play on the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. So it's the Late Pumpkin because it's out of season. It's barley because it's a brown ale and a play on Charlie Brown's name. I only spell this out because some people didn't get it. It was a sessionable brown ale with pumpkin and spices. Anyway, it was a small batch, about 100 liters. It's sold out at the brewery. The keg may pop up on certain Niagara breweries' guest taps. There may also be a bottle floating around for a certain albino. It turned out to be along the lines of what I was hoping for, and I'm still just blown away that I got a chance to do this. Cheers, boys.
Did
Yeah, that's
you
awesome.
did
man.
you bottle a bottle for Chantel? Is that what you're trying to tell us? You know who Chantel is. You bottled it for Chantel, didn't you? I'm gonna beat that woman.
Okay, the comments of the albino rhino did not necessarily reflect the comments of Beer Dudes United. And Mr. Pluses says, what is your opinion on the 16-month strike at the company that makes all the cans for beer in Canada? They get an award for being a great workforce, and the company treats them like crap. I don't know if I heard about that.
I don't think
Yeah, I
heard
read about it
that.
today. I don't know. I'm even though I don't belong to a union, I'm very pro union. As soon as you start talking about salaries of CEOs, you lose me because that's irrelevant. I think it's kind of strange though that they're now they have this stick campaign against their own companies. Like, we're on strike, so everybody go buy bottles, don't buy cans. So basically, we want to sink our business, so we have nothing to come back to. But I find that also strange. I just think the union leadership is really just some of their points are very old school.
Here's a
way of
question
going
I have
about it.
then. I've noticed this over the last little while, and does this have something to do with it? How long did that strike just start, or has that been going on for a while?
It says a 16-month strike so far. It's been going.
Okay, so that might be why this is happening. I've been noticing a lot lately in a lot of cans I'm getting that they're a lot lower quality. They're not all silver anymore. They all have colored tabs, and they're all a lot lower quality. If I poured this out and I squeezed it, you'd hear this weird sound as the whole thing is just almost collapsing in on itself. So I'm wondering if they're getting like Chinese cans or something now then.
Listen, I'll say this only because I'm in the sort of the procurement business as well when it comes to supply. Chinese doesn't necessarily mean poor, and I'm not defending any Chinese stuff.
No, I know it doesn't
I'm just saying the aluminum
necessarily mean
cans,
poor.
they're taking cost out of everything to produce. So cans are getting thinner. The tabs that's a marketing thing anyways. So to say you don't even know where those cans are coming from, they probably are coming from China for somewhere overseas. But at the same time, it's unfortunate the global marketplace we're in. Bose, for example, where does Bose get their glass from? China. Hello. So I mean, it's a cost of doing business. If somewhere else is cheaper and it's across the globe, it's what they have to compete with. Unfortunately,
What I noticed, which is weird, is if you go to let's say this grocery store and you go in the ethnic aisle, they got those like Chinese drink the coconut beverages, like coconut waters and those different fruit juices that come from China. Those cans are rock fucking solid. Like, they are thick. That the toasted coconut water's coming in, like, they're way thicker than any of our beer cans.
Mm.
Like, they're like sheet metal. Like, you.
Yeah,
smash
it
them and
depends.
out.
It depends.
You
I'm not saying they're all like
Sapporo.
that, but
You buy Sapporo canned here in Ontario, and you're getting the Sapporo that's brewed in Guelph at the factory, Sleeman's factory, and it's corrugated metal, and it's actually awesome because you can't squish that can by yourself. I've stood on those. I'm a 300-pound man. I've used 2 of them as stilts and walked around my basement one time just for shits and giggles. At my 30th birthday party at the Dirty 30 party, we got the bag of derp. He was in a few episodes. He's actually the guy that tested one of the pregnancy tests with his own urine and then put it down on the table, and the commander almost drank it before she realized what it was. But the bag of dirt was at my Dirty 30 party, and he was drunk, and his wife was driving him home, so he was really drunk. We talked him into trying to crush it on his head. So he took it, he slams it into his head, and nothing happens. And he puts it down. You just see him; he's angry because he's a big guy. He's actually still built. We both were fucking brick shit houses when we bounced together. He's still a brick shit house though. So he put it down. Then about 5 minutes later, we talked him into doing it again because he's drunk and stupid. So he picks it up and he puts it a little further back on his head so it's not at the same spot. Tests it twice, then slams it, but he hits the same spot. And he started crying, and it didn't do it. It was awesome. Just thought I'd share that. It was awesome.
Sounds fun.
No, those cans are a deadly weapon. You can use those cans to beat somebody to death with.
Yeah.
Actually, now that I've given it a little bit more thought, any cans that aren't coming from that plant are probably coming from the U.S. You got to think about like the Industrial Revolution and the fact that we've been canning stuff for the last century or so. There's probably tons of places, even in the U.S., that do it on the cheap. Probably out of the South somewhere that does it really cheap.
A 16-month strike. A lot of breweries, when it comes to cans, will have enough cans to last a few months. So they've all had to find somewhere else to go. You've already basically destroyed your business waiting for 16 months to go back.
Pretty much, yeah. They've gone elsewhere.
Yeah.
They're not going to wait on little.
Even when you open up again, they're not going to go back to you because they're going to be like, "Can we trust your workers? You're going to stay working."
Yeah. That's true.
They'll have some clause in whatever agreements they make with them. It's like, yeah, any work disruption, we're just going to take our business elsewhere, But they're going to have them over the barrel. They're basically say, yeah, okay, well, we want to get back into bed with us. Well, we're going to have you just to mitigate risk. We're going to have you cut your pricing by, a ton, and then of course they won't be able to afford to pay their people even more so now.
Yeah, so then they'll have layoffs. Like I don't think people think about this stuff when they do their wage fights in unions.
Yeah.
In certain companies, I'm not even going to get into it. It doesn't matter.
I will.
I'll drink my beer.
What the fuck are they doing making cans in Canada anyway? Like, think about it. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you don't. That's like fucking making like all that shit should be made in China, where everything else is getting made over. It's just happening later.
Well, I mean that brings in the argument about good jobs in your home countries. I mean, Target leaving Ontario, well, Target leaving Canada. If you go on to any of those things at all, any of the forums that are talking about it, everybody's freaking out about why can't we have a Canadian company making Canadian goods? Well, you can't have it because anytime you're buying Canadian goods, you all fucking bitch about the price. That's why you don't have it. Because you don't want to buy a Canadian good. Mark's Work Warehouse had 5 different clothing lines that were made in Canada. Their prices were 3 times as much as the clothes made in China. Guess what lines got pulled because nobody bought them? It wasn't the Chinese lines.
Yep.
Yeah, well, everything else is gone. Like, you can't support a family making fucking tin cans and, I mean, that's fucked. Kind of.
Sure you can. Any manufacturing job you have, for the most part, actually pays fairly well.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. One of the lines I was reading on one of somebody's as part of this union's argument is one of the concessions that they're not in agreement with is the wage reduction or wage freezing on second and third generation workers, so basically new hires. And the gist I got from that is basically, and that's the way it used to be. You get your kids hired in, right? And it'd be set for life type of stuff. And, they're basically, new hires aren't going to get what you guys are coming in at. And so now they're worried about their kids. And it's just like that little bit, it almost reeked of entitlement. So I'm like, I don't like that. The fact that they're fighting for future workers, you should be worrying about yourself, unfortunately. There's going to be reductions. Operations have to get more efficient. They're going to cut costs, and you're going to cut everybody's throat and go on strike for 16 months because you're worried about future hires. To me, it's a weird strategy.
But like you said, it's not going to be really worried for future hires. It's worried for future hires that are from their family.
Right.
That's how you get into those places. I mean, even where I work, you mostly get in if you know somebody.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And companies don't want that. They want to hire the best person. They don't want to hire the same kind of shitbird that just because we have that problem too, and we're getting away from that.
We had that problem for a long time. We got away from it now. Now when somebody gets hired, it's like 20% of people know somebody, the rest of them don't. Because what would happen is you'd have executives getting their kids jobs, right? Executives, oh well, my kid wants a job. Can he get into this department? And he can get into this department, or this department, because you don't have any skills to get into these departments. They hire them. The kid's been fucking coddled his whole life because his parents make $100,000 to $300,000 a year. Doesn't do any work. Like, you need to hire people that want to work. And I mean, yeah, it's great that your parents can get you in and then you're set for life. Sure, I wish that could have happened for me. Most people wish that could happen for them, but let's be honest. Hire the people that are best for the job. And some of these wages that people are getting are disgusting anyway. My great uncle owns 6 houses. He owns 6 houses by working for Ford and making $50 a year back in the fucking 70s. Like, sorry, $50 an hour back in the 70s. In the 70s, you know, like that's fucking stupid. Why do car prices cost so much? $50 fucking an hour in the 70s.
Yeah. Kind of getting off the topic of beer.
So how about that beer, guys? How about that beer?
Well, French guys.
That rant was off topic, sort of. It was on topic in the fact that we were talking about
This became union.
Right?
This became union cast.
It is interesting.
Yes.
That's part of the manufacturing of beer. The bottles and cans are part of the process.
16 months. 16 months. How are these people paying for shit now? Your pay on strike is worse than jury pay.
They can only afford the summer home, not the winter cottage as well now. They have to get rid of that.
I'm just making speculation here, but like maybe with the global market, like these can companies and shit don't have the monopoly they do to pay people good wages anymore because there is the options out there. Like back in the day, maybe they had a foothold on whatever market, and so in Canada, plus the wages, you know, we weren't able to trade with China because they're communists and shit. Back then, you know,
they were probably still doing fairly well because a lot of craft breweries want to support local regardless, so they would rather buy from a Canadian company than somebody else. They would have only moved because they had to. For not all companies, but a lot of them. I mean, you find a lot of craft breweries will want to make shirts. They want to find a local guy that makes shirts. They don't want to buy it from a company that will make them a little more money as much as they want to support somebody else because they want you supporting local, so they support local.
Just speculation, but it sounds like the fat cat's on the top, the usual kind of situation. They probably made it damned if you do or damned if you don't for the workers.
While we were all talking about this, I was searching up the article so I can read them later. It's actually, I can't believe that it's been 16 months and I haven't known about this or heard about it from many of the people in the industry that I'm friends with and talk to all the time and brew with.
Just about down across the board, every big company you see, they're always trying to cut costs, they're always trying to save hours, they're always trying to skimp on money here and there. So it doesn't matter if their CEOs are making like billions of dollars a year, they're still going to try to cut people's hours and try to get more production out of them for less wages. I mean, that's just the way
we are Niagara Falls' biggest booze mover, period. Probably the biggest booze moving entity in Ontario, in all honesty, if you think about a licensee. We had Wonder Bar and regular bar taps forever. Wonder Bar sucked, so we got rid of Wonder Bar. We went to the Berg system, for those of you that don't know the Berg system. The Berg system is the donut. The donut is the worst. I've used the donut before. In a small bar, it's fine. But for something moving out thousands of drinks a night, worst idea ever. But they didn't just stop with the donut. To save money, they put the Berg system on the taps. So they're like, we won't waste any beer anymore because how long our taps run in my place of employment, when you pulled the tap, you wouldn't put the cup under right away. You'd let it run for like half a second first because it's just all foam coming out, right? Because the lines are running like 600 feet. So you'd pull it, foam would pop out, and then you put the glass under. Well, the Berg system, you hit a button. Berg system starts. Now that button's supposed to be exactly 20 ounces. It's not calibrated right, so you're already pouring about 24 ounces because we caught it all in 2 different glasses to see how much there was. And then it's all foam. You can hit the button 3 times for a top-up of 1 ounce each. So you're pouring 27 ounces. You're almost pouring 30 ounces of beer for one 20-ounce beer, where we used to pour maybe 20.5 ounces for 20 ounces of beer. This is what we've had now for 3 days. We've wasted more beer in 3 days than we've wasted in 3 months at my place of employment. But the bigwigs wanted this to save money. We probably wasted 2 kegs worth of beer.
Yeah, well, the casinos, ours in Windsor is pretty money strapped too, with tourism being kind of tight, with the exchange rate and all that stuff. Well, actually, no, the exchange rate would be good now, actually, the way it's going. But one thing, actually, I'm curious what you think about it. Down here, they've employed a new rule where it's, as a guest, you are not allowed to be bringing in your own beer or wine or anything to your hotel room at the casino. Your hotel room.
No, I don't agree with that. It's your hotel room. You've rented that hotel room. You're paying money for that. You should be able to do almost anything you want.
No, and it was a big to do in the paper down here because they were saying, we have guests who don't like the noise and the partying, and some of our guests are rowdy because they're bringing in cases of beer and partying, and so they're forcing you to buy their stuff, and that's their.
No, it's all for the money. That's
Exactly.
all it is. It's all for the money. Actually, what was in the paper this week here in Niagara Falls was the Niagara Falls mayor was pushing the Ontario government to let border cities that had casinos give free booze in the casinos. That's what he wanted. He's like, across the border you can get free booze in the U.S. You should be able to get it here in Canada. First and foremost, he would be the first mayor in history in the history of Niagara Falls to completely destroy his own city, because every bar in the areas around the casinos would be closed. First and foremost. We have free beer there. And second, the Ontario government is not going to let them give away free beer. They want that tax money. That's all they care about, that tax money. That's the big difference between us and the U.S. You can buy a bottle of beer from us for $5.70. Oh, we'll say a pint. You can buy a pint of Coors Light here for $7.50, and we're actually cheap compared to most of Niagara Falls. $7.50 for a pint of Coors Light where I work. Or you can cross the border and buy a pint of Coors Light for $1.50 to $2 at happy hour. There's a big difference there, especially since ours is mostly tax. And and every day we get somebody coming in. We hear you're going to be giving away free booze. Kathleen Wynne, within 1 day of hearing this, shut it down. No, it's not happening. That's the one time I cheered for her. I'm like, yes. I'd be finding a new job in days if that had happened.
Yeah.
The amount of people that would have been let go right then and there would have been disgusting. And then every bar around here would be closing, so there would have been a lot of people out of work off his want for free beer and liquor.
I have certain ideas about that.
Expound on them, sir.
Well, as far as beer law, let's just say beer, but I really mean beer, wine, and liquor. I would always be inclined to support the least restrictive option.
Well, we are here in Ontario, here in most of Canada, not all of Canada, but in most of Canada, we're all fighting for private sales and this and that under different things. The beer store is still all over the news right now. They've come out with more stuff. There's just so many fights right now, and it's sickening to think that this is a company that makes huge amounts of money around the globe. Well, this is 3 companies that make sick amounts of money around the globe, all over Canada, all over the U.S., through the private sectors. But in Ontario, they own the private sector. That's the reason why this is such a big thing in Ontario. They know they have this, so they don't want to give it up. And I don't care to dismantle the beer store. I don't care to take away the thousands of jobs that are in the beer store between the retail and logistics and distribution networks that they have. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is take away their monopoly and let other jobs open up. That's all I care about in Ontario for the liquor period. And go ahead. Sorry.
No, what I'm saying, as far as if I was on a council or a member of parliament, I would be promoting, laissez-faire approach. In other words, if casinos wanted to give away beer, that's their business, and if private stores wanted to sell beer, I guess I'm anti-prohibition. You know what I mean? But I understand that it would be a chain reaction and would affect jobs, obviously, because they're working under a certain legal structure that casinos can't give away free beer or whatever, et cetera, et cetera. But in the end game would be that it probably would end up being more jobs. Of course, there would be market disruptions, but that would only be natural. But
it's not just the jobs that would be the problem in Ontario.
Huh?
In Ontario, the biggest problem, well, in Canada, period, the biggest problem is the taxation on alcohol. The reason you don't see free alcohol given away anywhere in Canada is because the way they pay for everything, their health care and all that, is off of vice taxation. So cigarettes, alcohol, all that. So, him wanting free alcohol at the casinos just means he doesn't even understand political system he's in and how the money funnels. I actually posted that on that article, and I got somebody going off on me about how she pays $900 a month to her, $900 a year to taxes, and that's not free to her because we have Ontario taxes, we have federal taxes and all that we pay on our income. So like on my income tax, I pay $900 a year to Ontario taxes. That to me isn't free because I was talking about our free healthcare. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, wait till she goes to the hospital.
She's like, I only go to the hospital twice a year. I don't have a family doctor, so I go to the yeah, go to that hospital. That $900 is more than your one visit. Sorry, less than your one visit. Please do that because we don't have the insurance. We have OHIP. You don't want OHIP? Okay, don't have OHIP. Guess what? Now you're paying it out of your pocket. And since you only paid $900 to your Ontario taxes, you don't have a very good job, so you're not going to be getting very good health care.
Yeah. Don't get me started on laissez-faire, but anyway.
Yeah, don't start with that French shit. Come on now.
Yeah, Guy's here. Don't start with the French shit.
Come on, Spike Sutter.
He knows what I'm talking about.
Hi.
I'm going to drink the innocent gun beer now.
I have a liberal approach towards alcohol and drug laws, but that's me. You know, I'm not saying everybody has to agree with it.
Well, what Ontario has to do, Ontario's still stuck in the temperance movement. We're still stuck in the temperance movement to an extent.
Yeah.
Opening up the market to people being able to get licenses to sell, or opening up more government agencies that specialize in different types of alcohol, I'm fine with, as long as there's not a monopoly owned by one person. Wine has a monopoly. Most people don't go about wine because they just don't care. They'll buy their wine anywhere because there's wineries all over. They'll get it there. They'll get it at the wine rack. They don't care as much, it seems. It's funny because wine is always pushed off as the more snobby drink, but usually the wine drinkers will drink whatever wine they can get.
Yeah.
Wine has a store outside of the liquor store that sells. It's the wine rack. The wine rack is owned by a conglomerate of wineries as well, but they're all Ontario wineries. That might be the reason they don't care as much, because it's Ontario wineries. But the big Ontario wineries own the wine rack. The big 3 brewers in the world own the beer store. That's the only 2 places other than the LCBO, other than the breweries, distilleries, wineries themselves, or other than wineries selling at a flea market that you can get booze at. Why can wineries sell at a flea market, but breweries and distilleries can't? Why can't I go to a flea market and buy some fucking Dillon's gin or something?
Right. Do you think Ontario could ever have, or Nova Scotia for that matter, or Quebec or Alberta, you think they could ever have like a sort of Louisiana type wide open
well, Alberta is privatized.
Buy at the gas station and everywhere.
Well, we can't get at a gas station yet.
You can buy at corner stores at what the fuck is the name for them? Dépanneurs. You can get beer at corner stores and at specialty shops in Quebec. Quebec has what we want. Quebec has a private-public sector. The public sector can get licenses to sell, and then there is the private sector can get licenses to sell, and then there is the Quebec Alcohol Commission, just like here in Ontario.
Yeah, because when I was driving through Quebec, I remember I stopped at a gas station and I bought some chips, some potato chips, and then I bought some beer, singles.
Yep. They're it's nice that way. Although when
Quebec is a private/public. I know Alberta. Does Alberta have public too, or is it all private in Alberta?
It's all private.
Yeah.
See, I'm okay with having a public/private. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with regulations and all that, as long as I have more choice and more ability. I don't care to dismantle the LCBO. I don't care to dismantle the beer store. What I care about is dismantling the collusion and monopoly that's out there.
Yeah. Nova Scotia is slowly getting there. I mean, we do have 3 or 4 little private stores. We do have a couple of gas stations here and there that have a special license to sell, but otherwise it's still pretty much public. But we're moving a little bit towards private, and also our craft brew thing is exploding right now. So there's all kinds of little breweries basically everywhere where you can just go right on site and buy the beer right from them. So
I think New Hampshire, that state. I think New Hampshire has government-owned beer stores. I've never seen that in any other state, but I
Yeah.
remember New Hampshire had the.
Yeah, you see, the market should, in a perfect world, the market should allow the space for both public and private, because if you have public, that's great for tax dollars. That just helps everybody in the end, and at the same time, private, it gives everyone freedom as well. They don't have to sit under the yoke of government control as far as selling their booze. So
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that, but I can see what your point is.
And I don't understand the whole basis of it, because we have a lot of addictions problems out here, and people are drinking fucking hairspray. You don't buy that at the fucking liquor store.
I don't think they're drinking hairspray.
Yes, they are.
Well, they might be spraying that.
They're drinking it, man. They poke a fucking hole in hairspray in the bottom of a can of Lysol. It's pressurized. Back it goes, man. Or they'll spray it into a Gatorade and drink it up.
They're misting it.
I
can understand misting it. I don't.
Sounds good.
They're drinking They're drinking cans of Lysol, huffing gas.
Well, there's a new trend of fucking mist beer. They can't.
Finesse hairspray is huge. I've been in back alleys loaded with fucking blue bottles of Finesse hairspray. They're drinking it, man. I kid you not.
Yeah, and that's the temperance movement always fights with stuff like that. The addiction's a bad thing. This is what they're gonna drink rubbing alcohol. They're gonna drink aqua velva. They're gonna do that already. It doesn't matter.
Vanilla extract.
Vanilla
and,
extract.
People have come into the store I work in and have stolen vanilla extract off the shelves, and you know why they're stealing it, to drink it.
No, they're stealing it to make cupcakes for their kids. Okay. Fuck
Oh,
off.
yeah, that's right. These old grandmothers, it's just like Hell's Grannies and Monty Python. They're running around, making trouble.
They've tried
We
to
have 9 viewers left, and we don't have any comments really. Come on.
We got a couple more comments. Massive Beer Reviews wants an invite. He's probably on his iPad again, so he can't get in like normal people.
I sent him a direct invite already, just like Joe. Joe's whined on Facebook.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Beer Zerka talking about all those horror stories. It like gives me the creeps. It's like terrible to hear that kind of stuff.
It is. It's horrible to see.
It's like a nightmare world, like these movies you watch. These science fiction movies where the society is broken down, like Road Warrior or something.
It is what it is. I mean, it's always been here. How many of you as kids knew people that huffed glue and stuff? Like, I knew people that did that, or paint, or it's always been there.
I thought they were crazy.
Whippets were around in the 70s, and they came back in the 90s. And
well, I live in a province that's still very, very rural, and I went to school with people who huffed gas. They didn't want to, and that was back when beer was fairly cheap in the stores too. But they didn't want to pay the price for fucking beer, so they'd be huffing gas up in the mountain, like.
When I was in school, kids used to drink Listerine, like no.
Listerine, aqua velva.
Ew.
Yeah. Ethan's beer review says, "Hey guys, just stopping to say hey. Hope you all are doing well at the bar. Drinking right now, having Great Lakes High Striker Single Belgian style ale.
We need to have an Ohio Elvis here at the beer festival, so get your ass up here.
That's right. Excellent in style, mild fruitiness, spiciness, light mouthfeel, lots of carbonation. Has that Belgian yeast farmhouse taste, pleasant bitter finish. Really nice beer. But do I think it will catch on with the general public drinkers? Probably not. It's still an excellent representation." Excellent.
Oh, I got two movies that you would love there, Lee.
Oh yeah.
Pick this up today.
Yeah, I own that. Shockwaves. I'm actually
this up today.
Raw Force. I've never heard of that one. You want to find a great one? Find Samurai Cop if you've never seen that.
The Samurai Princess is pretty good too.
Yeah, no, Samurai Cop is the best bad movie ever made. I'm saying it as a definitive statement.
Have you seen Ninja Geisha?
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
Okay, we have to get you down here earlier this year. I mean, you can just do fucking beer review videos, movie review videos.
Right on.
All right, guys, I gotta sign off for the night. Hi, Greg, gotta go.
You know what, E? You have yourself a wonderful night.
Yeah.
It's been amazing talking to you.
All right.
And yeah.
Yeah, it was different. It was amazing talking to you for once.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Have a good one. Okay, well, since we got massive beer reviews in here and we got Nick in here, I don't think we asked either of them what they're drinking. What are you drinking?
Well, I'm going to crack open a year-old bottle of Old North that I didn't send you because I was worried it was going to be skunky or foul.
I hope it's foul, and I hope you drink the whole thing.
The whole thing is I got to work tomorrow.
I'm double hitting here just because I opened up a pounder. I did half of Port Brewing Santa's Little Helper, 2013 Imperial Stout, and I just got off that and went to Trogue's Nugget Nectar.
Nice.
Awesome. And
What
what
do you
about,
collect? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Nick.
I was just going to ask what Greg's drinking as well.
I'm having some wonderful water.
You bitch.
He doesn't want to get yelled at by his wife, girlfriend.
I'm not even at home.
Oh,
Jeez.
he still doesn't want to get yelled at by his girlfriend.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
imagine he's.
By my
he's
other
drunk.
girlfriend over here.
Oh.
That's why I show my face, because I'm naked right now.
Do any of you collect coasters? Because I mean, there's so many cardboard coasters out there. This was in the bottom of a box that the Colgate gave me. Colgate brought this over. This is a fucking corkboard
Oh, nice.
Block 3 coaster. I love it. This is
That's
awesome.
beautiful.
Yeah,
What
you
am
don't
I,
see
a
those
mirage?
anymore.
Am I a mirage? You got me on the pay no mind list?
No, what do you have? What are you
You didn't
drinking?
ask me
good
what
sir?
I was drinking.
What are you drinking?
Well, it's kind of like water.
Is it Miller Lite?
Miller High Life Light.
Oh my god.
High Life Light.
Miller High Life to make a light
Have I
version.
had that? Have I had Miller High Life Light? I don't even know.
Wow.
I think I have. I think that was the beer that that Ken was making fun of all day, saying that in the army when they come back from deployment, they drink like two fours of that stuff. I think that's what he was saying.
Yeah, well, we did that in our show tonight. We did light beers, but that was the category. So anyway, sorry to interrupt you.
No, you weren't interrupted.
I apologize for not asking. I forgot.
What's the ABV on that one?
Does it have an ABV?
Yeah. Actually, it's 4.1%.
Really? I thought it would be in the threes, to be honest.
110 calories, 4.1%. I bought this can. It was 2 quart cans for $2.50.
Well, on your examination of light beers earlier, wasn't one of the panel members saying that the difference between regular Busch and Busch Light was only but like 0.2% or something like that? It was like 4.1 for the light and 4.3 for the regular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't get over it.
I think our Bush up here is 5. I got to check.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
The carbohydrates were different, but Busch Light and Busch Regular is very similar. It's really weird. There's a lot of Anheuser-Busch beers that are very strange. You've got some that are low calorie, but they have high alcohol. It's odd. Like Natural Ice is a 5.9% alcohol, but it's only 130 calories. Anyway, getting back to...
Out of curiosity, do you get Coors Altitude added? Is it Altitude?
No,
Altitude?
and I was very troubled. I was very troubled when I watched that video. I've been fretting over that all week. I'm wondering if I'm going to get it. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Is it a Canadian-only thing?
They're just introducing it to the Canadian market, but I imagine it's probably going to be in the U.S. as well.
I even referenced that beer in a video I made recently, and I said it's the first malt liquor Coors has ever made in their long history.
I want to review it. If I do review it, I have to buy a 4-pack, so maybe I can help you out, Ron.
Well, is it really worth the expense to send something like that from Canada to Louisiana?
If you want to try it,
It's Coors First Malt Liquor.
Yeah, if you get to try it and review it, then it's worth it. Why not?
Yeah, but they monitor my videos, and I mentioned it, so it'll probably show up here in a month.
Yeah, I mean, looking online, I'm trying to look it up. It's all Canadian. There's nothing U.S.
Yeah. And when I was doing my review, there was nothing online about it. I think they didn't launch their ad campaign until after I reviewed it. A woman from Molson Coors, or representing Molson Coors at least, sent me their like data sheet on it or whatever after the fact. So.
I know, but I watched your follow-up. I watched that follow-up, but I got a funny feeling that there's going to be some movement real soon on Coors Altitude.
I only found out about it by going to the beer store website. It wasn't announced or anything. It was just listed.
Yeah.
I think they're test marketing it.
Yeah, they are. They're rolling it out right now, sort of softly, and then I think she was saying it was February that they were going for their big launch of it or something like that.
Yeah, last year I was talking about how Coors has never made a malt liquor, and I went on about that a little bit. So I think their research and development department probably watched that video and they figured they better swing into action. So
it's a malt liquor though.
Technically, I think it is.
In the loosest sense of the term, I mean it's only 6.4% alcohol.
Yeah.
That's you know what I mean.
No, 6.4. That's right in the malt liquor range, certainly.
Well, yeah, I know, but I mean,
it's one of those classy malt liquors like Black Crown and Bud Light Premium and stuff like that.
They have it advertised on the beer store website as a lager.
Yeah.
Well, sure, of course.
I'm just saying that would it means that they probably have hops in it, so it's not technically a malt liquor because the beer store does have a malt liquor section.
Wait, you know, malt liquor is a term that confuses 99% of the world.
Well, it's different from depending where you fucking go.
Right.
I mean,
generally, malt liquor just means an extra strong beer. That's what it means in the United
in Ontario, it's a malt liquor. It's a liquor made out of malt.
No, in the United States, malt liquor really just means a beer that's stronger than normal.
No, not necessarily, because I mean, on some of your old school 40 ounces aren't that strong. It's just.
No,
but I mean, if you're going to say that it's just a beer that's stronger than normal, that means anything over 6% alcohol is a malt liquor.
Yeah.
Well, really, 5%. No, I'll give you an example. Over 5%. I'll give you two examples. Spaten, not Optimator. Regular old Spaten, which is 5.2, is. If you look at the bottle in the United States, it says malt liquor. Secondly,
that's a German purity law thing where they have to put like malt beverage. It says malt beverage, not malt liquor.
It says malt liquor in Louisiana. Secondly, I drank on yesterday, I drank a bottle of Guinness Foreign Extra Stout, which is an import from Dublin, Ireland, and it says malt liquor on it.
Yeah, and,
that must be your state because
state law thing, or it might just be
like Texas and ale.
Yeah, I think it's the United States Trade Commission. If it's above 5%.
Well, I had to buy my Foreign Extra Stout that I drank and the one I sent to Nick. I bought those in New York State, and they just said Foreign Extra Stout. They didn't say malt liquor anywhere on them.
Yeah. And the Coors Altitude, one of the places I did see it listed when I was doing my initial research, it was listed as an ale, which probably would have meant that source probably was someone from Texas or something like that.
Yeah, might have been coming from the brewery.
See, this is why I love having panel members from all over the world, because we all have so many different weird laws.
I just had a beer from Oscar Blues, the Mama's Little Yellow Pilsner. It said malt liquor. That wasn't very high. I think it was only 5 point something. The malt liquor right on the can, and I looked on the website that there was no corn, just pale malt.
Yeah, according to the Canadian code, like the Canadian booze code, the food industry and all that, malt liquor is just no hops. So anything made out of malt with liquor in it that doesn't have hops, which would make it beer.
No, that's definitely not the United States of America terminology.
Because like Colt 45 and Old English, they have hops in them, correct?
Certainly. Oh yes, definitely. Hop extract at least.
Yeah.
Well, I,
Corn
got,
syrup.
I have a little project to work on this week. Looks like.
We have a little comment here which is related to this. Chris F. Grave says, for beers put out to the test market in Canada, we can dial back to when energy drinks first came out, and Molson and Labatt's were right in on it. Molson boosted a beer of Guarana. Labatt came out with Shock beer, which was it's HOK with caffeine in it. The only thing that came out of that brew would be conventions going in bathrooms at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Mm.
I remember Molson Kick. I had that.
Yeah, I briefly saw some of that shit in the NSLC at one point. I was like, "There's no way I'm ever touching that crap."
Sounds ghastly.
I mean, that's just
Well,
stupid.
thank you, Chris,
Like,
for watching and giving us this stuff. Why don't you join us?
yeah, that's just damn stupid. That's the same with the mixing vodka of Red Bull kind of thing, where it's like drink more and stay up instead of passing out and listening to your body and going to bed and recovering.
Hey, did you like that high octane I sent you?
No, I did not.
I still have a can sitting in my fridge. I'm scared of.
I would be
a year and a half ago. I just haven't touched it. It scares me.
I would be very frightened. Yeah.
So Colt 45 says I'm a strong malt from the United States. Colt 45, brewed for over 20 years, is one of the top 3 malt liquors in the USA. It is well balanced and has a light malt flavor, slightly sweet and super smooth. Colt 45, it's the malt liquor that works every time.
Yeah, and how much of it is marketing as well? It's like some people might just want to call their stuff malt liquor because they're trying to sell it in 40s to a certain demographic.
No, but I think there's some kind of legal issue with it. I don't think Spaten wants to put malt liquor on their beer.
Well, I'm not saying everyone's doing it. I'm just saying some people would probably take advantage of that market, right? They'd be like, we're selling our beer. It's just a high-gravity lager. We don't have to legally call it malt liquor, but if we put malt liquor on a 40 and sell it to people in urban centers or something like that, we'll probably make a killing on it because of the image.
Maybe.
There's that marketing going on with every single minor step in the whole, what do you want to call it, class ladder. Do you know what I mean? As far as any beer goes, whether it's expensive or cheap.
Hey, but are y'all familiar with the Smirnoff or there's another company that makes it's Smirnoff and there's these little coolers that they say malt beverage on the front and there's different flavors. I've never tried one. They're blue.
Smirnoff Ice is made with vodka here, so it's not malt beverage.
No, not where I live, but there's another company that makes them too.
There's a bunch of them. There's Four Loko. Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Yeah, but there's
Mike's Hard Poppers. Poppers makes a bunch of them too.
But I was looking at those when I was working. I was supposed to be working, but I was taking a little break, and I was looking at the back of the beer, the bottles, and some of them said flavored malt liquor, and other bottles said flavored beer. But they all said flavored beer or flavored malt liquor.
Yeah, because you guys can't use actual vodka and stuff in those in the U.S. In Canada we can. So that's
so in that sense, you're more liberal than we are. So it cuts both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Again, the reason I love having a panel from all over the world is just that. And when we get the English guys in, when it's somebody that can actually talk, I'm trolling you, Stu. I love you, Stu, but I'm trolling you. It's great because of just that. We can actually learn so much about each different person's area.
Right. We need to get some people in here so we can talk about the minutia of beer in Cambodia.
Do they even have internet connections in Cambodia?
They do.
You are the biggest troll we've ever had on here. Fuck what Joe thinks.
What? I love Cambodia. I want to take a holiday there once, right? At some point.
I want to go to Phnom Penh.
Now that Pol Pot's dead, I'm sure it's okay.
Not exactly, but it's better.
I mean, the dead Kennedys wouldn't steer me wrong. Glad someone appreciated that.
Yeah, holidays in Cambodia. That was from what, 1981? Jello Biafra? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I'm actually out of topic, so I'm just waiting for either you guys or somebody else to come up with something. What's going on in the beer market in Pennsylvania and Louisiana right now? There we go. We haven't asked you guys that in a long time.
Pennsylvania, let's see, Weyerbacher, a bunch of my friends have been picking up a bunch of new offerings from Weyerbacher. I know you like Weyerbacher, Chad, and like a bunch of them, like way too, like I've never had, let's put it this way, before I stumble over every single one of my words. I've never had a bad beer from Weyerbacher, infection-wise. I've had bad beers that I didn't like. And like 5 of my friends have had infected beers over the last couple weeks. So I think they might be having some kind of mass, horrible distribution they didn't know about. Like, a multitude of people have had sour beers that shouldn't be sour. So I don't know what's going on with that. Other than that, man, Pennsylvania's kind of like...
They could have just had Lee distributing them.
Or what? Lee?
Lee could have been distributing them.
That or just trying to be the brewery in the East Coast. Let's see.
Oh,
no,
he's just ignoring my trolling. Okay.
No, Weyerbacher I wouldn't be distributing. I'd just be hoarding.
I'm just making fun of your sea level pumpkin beer.
You could just fuck right off.
Continue, Matt. I'm done trolling now.
Other than that, man, there's really not much going on. It's kind of like that weird, like, calm before the storm, before the spring comes. Other than that, I've been traveling around and like, kind of bumping into a bunch of, like, cheap, good beer, which is kind of nice. You know? Like, I picked up that one Port Brewing, it's in his little helper. I found a bunch of year-and-a-half-old bottles of those from a decent. I found half a case of Stone Vertical Epic 12s for, like, next to nothing, which was fantastic. Like, I've just been kind of stumbling across great beer. So that's probably all that's going on with me.
All right, and how's the what's going on in Louisiana?
I think he's getting.
He's getting something. Okay, so we'll just wait.
This beer I'm drinking is not that impressive. The Messiah from the Schmaltz Brewing, that brown ale. I like the hop mana, but this one fucking.
Well, I'm gonna drink this. I'm gonna drink from the Big Rig Brewing Company, which is owned by Chris Big Rig Phillips of the Ottawa Senators. The Big Rig Wee Heavy.
Did you just did that on tap, didn't you?
I untapped the Scotch Ale, which is the same thing earlier, and then they added the Wee Heavy because they rebranded it, so I just retapped it. I'm gonna drink it now, but I did give it a 10 out of 10 when I reviewed it. No, sorry, a 9.75 out of 10. But I rounded it up because you can't do quarter points. This is actually one of the best Wee Heavies I've ever drank in my life. And Lauren is actually an amazing brewmaster. He actually came from BC, and when I did my interview with him, he had just started brewing because they had hired him from BC and flew him over to Ontario. And he didn't know anything about any breweries in Ontario because I was asking about the breweries close to him. Like, I was like, have you tried anything from Bose? I don't know what Bose is. Okay, buddy. You're in Ontario brewing. You should learn what your competitors are and make your friendships now.
His next question is like, this is Ontario?
So what constitutes it being Wee Heavy?
Strong Scotch ale.
Yeah, it's basically
Scotch ale. It's a wee bit heavier.
Bordering on barley wines at some point.
So heavier than a heavy.
Yeah. It's a very nebulous sort of...
It's not that heavy, just a wee heavy.
It's just a wee heavy. It's kind of like a malt liquor. It's different everywhere you go.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, some people call their wee heavy Scotch ales. I mean, it's more a marketing distinction at this point than it is really anything else.
It's pretty interchangeable as far as styles. But yeah, to me, like it's a wee heavy's like a darker roasted malt old ale, but not as high ABV. Usually, it's just a skosh underneath.
It's not really heavy.
And usually when you see some Scotch ales, like sometimes they have more of like a woody peat character to them at some point with their malts and stuff, where wee heavies are more fruity, like barley wines and stuff like that to some extent. I find. I mean, that it's probably not.
This is a great balance of them both. You get that peaty smokiness, and you get a very beautiful caramel taste and a lot of beautiful fruitiness, dark fruits, your prunes, your raisins, that sort of thing. It's a beautiful beer.
Because you look at something like McEwen Scotch Ale, which is just like this medicinal.
Fuck McEwen Scotch Ale.
And then, I mean, they call it the Scotch Ale, and it's very medicinal, and that was like the first one I ever had that was called a Scotch Ale, and for quite a while I was thinking, okay, this is what a Scotch Ale is, and then I had some stuff that was, like more roasty, smoky and stuff, and they called it Scotch Ale, and then you had some stuff called Wee Heavy that was all fruity and stuff. It's like, well, okay, I can see these terms are just bullshit. They're just, interchangeable, so...
Oh, your buddy Joe contacted me, Matt.
Finally?
Yeah, all he sent me is, sorry I didn't contact you earlier. Where do you live in comparison to St. Catharines? Then I said it all matters where in St. Catharines you are. He goes, well, I'm 10 minutes away from the college. I'm been here 15 minutes away from my house. And then he sent me a response, oh, that's not that bad, and that's all he ever sent. So we'll see where that goes.
He's not the most dynamic fellow when it comes to conversation, but he's honestly one of the better people I've ever met in my life. Like not a malicious nor negative bone in his body. So if you guys ever hook up, I'm sure you'll kick it off.
Yeah, I have no malicious or malevolent or.
We're talking about a different Joe, I assume, not average Joe.
He's Black Soul Incarnate, the Joe we know.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, it's like, are we talking about average Joe here? Because he's one of the most malicious, negative people I've ever met.
So, you weren't here when I asked it there, Jay, but Ron, I fucking do this all the time. Every time you're here, I call you both names all night. Ron's what I'm going with.
Just call him J-Rod.
J-Rod? What's the Louisiana beer scene going on right now?
Wait, I'm sorry. You could say Jay or Ron because people use both terms. It's Ronald J. Terrio. That's the problem. That's my name. What were you asking?
Well, I asked Matt this, and I'm asking you this because we don't normally hit you guys because you guys end up joining later on. What's going on in the Louisiana beer culture right now? Breweries, beers, anything cool going on out there right now?
Well, yeah, a little bit because I was working in the store today, and I looked, and when the guy arrived from Crest and Crown, the Coors distributor, I looked and I saw these two cans I was not familiar with, so I walked over there and I said, "Great Raft Brewing," and it said Shreveport, Louisiana, and I said, "Oh, another new brewery." So we just got some cans, not bottles, but cans of beers from Great Raft Brewing in Shreveport. There's a new brewery starting in Thibodaux, a new one starting up. But I think the problem is, these people are jumping into the game at the wrong time because I think it's about to crash. There's too many breweries chasing too few dollars. But I mean, I still enjoy it and try it, but I feel bad for them because I think they're going to lose their shirt. But it might be good. I don't know how exciting that sounds to you, but it was kind of cool to see these new ones come in.
Oh, I'm always excited for new breweries. Always.
Yeah, but I just can't see how it's sustainable. People get so angry with me saying that. You don't know that? They say, you don't know that? You don't know. I said, I didn't say I knew it. I just said I had a feeling that it was too saturated.
Well, Ontario right now has about 135. By the end of the year, we're supposed to have 170. Mattering where they all go matters whether or not they're sustainable here. I mean, a lot of our breweries are within Ottawa, Toronto, Niagara-on-the-Lake, and London area. Well, not even London, but that area, that whole area. Toronto has the most breweries of all of the areas here. The Greater Toronto area has probably, the GTA probably holds, 40, 50 of our 140 breweries? Like, that's sickening when you think about it. Yeah, they're not all brick and mortar. A lot of them are contract breweries, but there's like a third of Ontario's breweries in the GTA. And they just keep opening there. There's lots of little towns and stuff that you could open in and actually be successful in because there is no choice there. People would join it. People would support it. But yeah, I understand what you're going from. I understand what you're saying. And again, in Ontario, it all matters where they're opening, whether or not I think they're getting saturated. Like Toronto is saturated, Ottawa is getting saturated. It's just the way it is.
The thing with Toronto is that they still pretty much sell everything they put out, especially the really hype breweries. So there's money to be made.
See, the problem is when I say those type of things, people think I'm trying to downgrade craft beer, and they're saying, "Oh, you just have some kind of like embedded desire that it'll fail." I say I don't have that desire at all. I want them all to succeed. I'm just looking at it in an economic sense that it doesn't seem like it's going to make it. I mean, the store I work at, they have so many craft beers in there, but they sit on the you know what I mean? They're sitting on the shelf, and the guy has to have big discounts all the time because people won't buy it. I don't know. I'm not trying to hate on it. I hope it succeeds, but I don't think it's going to make it.
No, it's a realistic view. I mean, there's this weird idea like, oh, you're supposed to support local and stuff like that, and you're supposed to be all super positive about everything new coming out. And it's like, yeah, I'm excited that a new brewery's coming out. I'm definitely pulling for them, but you got to be realistic about it. And I mean, as far as the support local thing goes, if they're making crap products, I'm not going to support them. I don't care if they're local or not. And in a lot of the cases, sometimes you get new breweries that make total garbage, and there's no way you should support them or, talk them up just because they're local or whatever or new. And
well, that's what me and E both say, right? Don't support local because it's local. Support local because it's good.
Yeah, and there's a lot of new breweries that are unfortunately going to fall under the wayside because even if they make good products, because the market might be saturated and they might have depending on the size of the brewery ratio compared to the population density of where they're opening up, that makes a big factor in whether they're going to sell or not. I mean,
right. Look at a lot of my video reviews for local Louisiana breweries. A lot of those reviews are not tremendously popular. I mean, not popular. I mean to say positive. Like I'll say, it's okay. I'm not going to be out there boostering companies because they're local if their product is not that good.
See, if you get your business in, like, say, Toronto, like some really good location in the city, and you make good beer, you could probably, and if the brewery's not that big, you can support a decent-sized brewery just in Toronto alone from a few neighborhoods around you that are constantly buying your stuff. But if you're trying to make a really big brewery in, say, Toronto somewhere, and you're paying out your ass for rent, and no one's buying your beer because it's substandard, well, you're gone.
Yeah, too bad.
Are you making a comment about the Beer Academy?
Well, I think there were some other factors in the Beer Academy as well.
The Beer Academy actually made good beer. They didn't have a good location, and they had the name of Molson Coors behind them, and the Toronto beer market is all about hipsterishness.
Yeah.
It was... What was that, Greg?
Kind of a cursed location.
And a cursed location. Yeah, that was the third brewery to close in that location in 6 years.
Baron Samedi put a voodoo curse on it.
Those breweries.
But lots of these fail. Like Chad, you're saying a lot of these breweries do fail.
Well,
I don't know.
It's not like a restaurant. It's not like you're going to fail or you're going to succeed and that's it. It's a lot of them fail in that a lot of them will make enough money to stay open, but just stay open, not grow, not anything. And to me, that's kind of failure too. I mean, if you can't actually make a profit because people don't care enough about you, that's kind of a failure as a brewery. Sure, you're able to stay open, but you're not making anything. You're not growing. It doesn't even matter about growing. You're not able to even pay yourself a good wage. You're just making it. And a lot of them do that hoping that they're weathering the storm and they're going to actually go somewhere.
Well, you see that with a lot of things too, like a lot of different aspects of careers. People, like, they do a good job because they love it. Like a lot of people that open vineyards and stuff, but or similar things. They struggle and they don't make a lot of money, but they like what they do. It's fun for them.
Well,
I guess they in that regard, I guess. Yeah.
But sorry, go ahead, Chad.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to change the subject totally.
Go ahead.
To kind of like touch on, because I feel like in some ways, I mean, it's totally different, but based off of what you're going off of the beer store and what you're dealing with in Canada. Like Pennsylvania, not that it's the same, but we're like one of the more restrictive like states when it comes to like alcohol and beer. You know what I mean? For years, beer wasn't allowed to be sold on Sundays, and like you can't buy beer except for distributors. And then it was like, okay, specific places. And the one thing I forgot to bring up when you're asking about what's local, Pennsylvania, the law is pretty much, I guess, passed, but they're just kind of ironing out the wrinkles. They're going to allow, so Pennsylvania's going from a place you can't buy beer on a Sunday to now they're going to allow places to people to buy beer on the phone and have it delivered from like restaurants and pizza places.
Okay, see, this is the thing, right? Pennsylvania was a big, what, people aren't going to like it, but Pennsylvania was a big religious area. That's why you couldn't buy on Sundays, you couldn't buy here, you couldn't buy there. Ontario had the same thing. Ontario was still following the temperance movement, which was mostly done through the church. The difference being, you guys seem to, you guys have about the same prices as we do on your beer, for the most part. I mean, your prices are higher than most of the rest of the U.S. But you guys seem to actually embrace change, where Ontario is still just trying to hold on to the old way and nothing else.
Well, you have to understand. I mean, yes and no. I mean, we have you go away from beer. Liquor stores are still state-owned, and we've been trying to get away from them for years. Like, I can't even get specific scotch I want. I can't go to the store and be like, can I get this? I understand it's the same way up there, so with certain things. So it's still the same, but then there's things like this where I understand delivery is normal for other states, but, I mean, does anybody out there, can they call up their pizza shop and tell them to deliver them a 6-pack of beer? Can anybody do that?
No. But we actually do have to-your-door delivery systems now that buy from the beer store and the LCBO. But you're paying more because you're paying for the convenience of them going to the LCBO and beer store and picking it up for you.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like we're almost like hopping over a logical step. Instead of going, okay, let's have distributors or sanctioned distributors online deliver in Pennsylvania. Like, we can't ship beer in Pennsylvania, but I can call a place down the street when I'm hammering out of my mind and have them deliver me a 2 6-pack of beer. Like, it's like a weird kind of like, okay, we're not gonna let you just order beer like any normal person in the whole country, but if you want to order anything from a place down the street, they'll drive it to your house. Like, I don't understand that concept. Like, skipping over the whole like normal ordering beer online thing. Like, you can't order beer online in Pennsylvania, but I can order it from down the street or across the town. Like, I don't get it. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. Ron, down in Louisiana, Louisiana is like no holds barred down there. Can you call up like a restaurant or a pizza place and have them deliver beer to you?
I don't know of any places that will do it, and I don't know if there's any laws against it. We have, there are so many places that sell alcohol and hard liquor and wine that I don't know if there's any market for that kind of thing. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any market for that kind of thing because it's just everywhere you go they sell alcohol, wine, hard liquor, wine, and beer. And we do have drive-through daiquiri shops, but that's a different thing.
I've heard about those. I know, I've heard about those.
They can't put the straw in the cup, but they hand you the straw. I can almost get up and look out my window and see the closest drive-through daiquiri shop. That's a very big thing here.
I could sell you the bullet. I just can't put the bullet in the chamber for you.
I've been to Pennsylvania many times, and yes, they are very restrictive, and it gets on my nerves.
But that's the thing. Like, I live in this restrictive world. I understand it. I'm close enough to New York, New Jersey, to where really, if I get a bug up my ass, I can get outside of here and get what I need to get. My conundrum, or whatever you want to call it, is them choosing to pass this law to where restaurants, restaurants, beer, pizza shops, and grocery stores, those are the only 3 that are allowed to do it, can now deliver me beer if I call them up and ask them, yet I can't call anybody else but them. But it's not, they're state-owned, They're not state run. You know what I mean? So it's not like I'm calling like a state store and it's some kind of like deal they have going on. It's like some arbitrary like third party person that has some kind of money gouging license from the state that now they can deliver me beer. You know what I mean? Like, like where's the restriction? Is it mileage? Like, can I call? I live in northeastern Pennsylvania. Can I call a pizza shop in Pittsburgh and they can technically fill up a truck full of awesome stuff and deliver it to me if I want to? Like, what's what? You know what I mean? I don't understand it. It's just a weird, arbitrary thing that's kind of skipping over. Basically, I just want to order beer from whoever the fuck I want to order from.
Yeah.
And they're just not letting me do it.
There's so many laws that the authorities probably don't even know what the fucking rules are.
Oh no, that's
you know what I mean? Like half
true.
the time. I bet if you asked someone, then they probably wouldn't even know, and they'd have to go ask 10 other people before they even found out on some of these bizarre laws.
Yeah. We do have 2 more comments here. I'll just get through real quick. Jason Spears says, "Hey everyone, just got here having a Propeller one-hit wonder Blackout IPA. Cheers."
Nice.
All I'm gonna say to you, Mr. Spears, is fuck you and have your van fixed by April.
That's right. Chris F. Graves says, "Jay has an optimistic view on craft beer, but truth hurts. We're all riding on that wave, and wonderful drops spill into our glasses, but for a business, it's the Kim-style quote on just being passionate in a saturated market. But you're just another kid opening up a lemonade stand, and before you pour your first glass, a kid on the other side of the street is opening up a stand." And Dollahan Brewing says, "Evening, gents. Sorry I'm late, but good show as always. Cheers."
Cheers.
Cheers.
Chills.
Cheerio, Gregory.
Jolly good.
And the other subject I wanted to bring up, did we talk about Cigar City Hanappa Day or what?
We talked about it last week. Yeah, we talked about.
I know we talked about it last
week.
But actually they sold this. Tickets went on sale already, and a friend of mine sold out in less than a minute.
Less than a minute.
Wow.
Less than a minute.
Wow.
From one booth?
I'm surprised that server didn't just crash.
Well, it could have been an example of that, but the guy who he used to live in Pennsylvania, the guy that pretty much introduced me to good beer like 20 years ago, he moved to Florida and he opened a bar down there, and he was telling me, he's like, I think I'm gonna get a ticket this year because we were going back and forth on whether he should go or not based off last year. He's like, screw it, I'm just gonna do it, and he said he was on it. Tickets went on sale 2 days ago, I think it was, at 7:00 p.m. He said he was on, put his tickets in, hit purchase, and it said all tickets are in all carts, and it was 7:45. 7 minutes and 45 seconds.
Wow.
And they were gone. Gone!
So probably
now, that's his experience. You know what I mean? The internet could have been funky or whatever, but it seems like they went that fast.
So either a bunch of people bought them really quick, or 1 or 2 people bought a shitload, or...
I guess, but usually...
I think you might actually see people actually selling the tickets. Here's a ticket, $800.
But I think there was a limit. I don't think you could, like... I mean, there's brokering and muling going on, I'm sure. But, just for... I mean, that alone, to see that at that pace, for something that was a dumpster fire the year before, you know what I mean? Like, it's you know... Hey, it just goes to show you, because the week before we kind of went back and forth debating, is it worth it? Are people going to do it? How's it going to be? Well, it just goes to show you could literally light people on fire and tell them you suck, and they'll come back the next year and buy whatever the fuck you want.
Because that one place was oversold by 3 times the amount of bottles they had, and people were pounding on their doors and freaking out and threatening to burn the place down, and then they all bought it again?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there you go.
Like these people aren't helping at all. They're not helping at all. I'm glad that I'm kind of glad he decided to do it. I'm hoping it's a good turnout this year, that it's better than last year. But if it isn't, if it's the same thing as last year, it gives me great fodder for a video and for a fucking BDU.
Yeah.
One way or another, it's going to be good. It's either going to be good for the beer drinker, or it's going to be good for me.
Well, no, because it's actually horrible, because my friend, like I said, like he loves beer. So he knows he's forgotten more about beer than I could possibly imagine, and he didn't get a ticket. You know what I mean? Like he's the person you want at that place, and he was there, ready, dead, set, go, boom, tickets gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like so, that is almost like a microcosm of the issue, is because he went out of his way to do it, and he still couldn't get it, and he's the person you want there.
Yeah, so that goes back to what we were talking about earlier there, Chad, with the hipsters versus the actual people who want to build the community and support the community. You get all these people who actually don't care so much about craft beer community and stuff as they care about having the rarest whale so they can lord over everybody else and say how fucking awesome they are, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, then it comes down to what's the best way to do this? Is it the best way to make people line up the day of, like Kuhnheim did it? Is this the best way? I mean, for me, in my mind, this is the better way. I mean, these people that bought the tickets now know they have the beer. They just have to go to the event that day. But at the same time, the people that should have gotten tickets couldn't. But then at the same time, the people that should get beers might not actually get it going into a line because they have to be at the line 6 or 7 hours before the fucking event starts. There's nothing you can do anymore. What they should do is just stop wanting to make it a big event and make more money off of it. Just release the beer without telling anybody.
There shouldn't be a line. Let's put it that way.
And that's what I think it should be. I mean, to do it the way they're trying to do it, I don't think it should be like, here are the beers that are going to be there. You know what I mean? Like, I think you should have a festival based on reputation, more like you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, okay, these are the breweries that are going to be there. There's going to be good beer there. Come enjoy yourself. We're going to assure that there's going to be beers you enjoy. Please, come one, come all. And then, you know what I mean? That way it sucks because you don't know exactly what you're going to get, but at the same time, you go and you get fantastic beers, and it'll be like, hey, these beers were there after the fact. Being like, we enjoyed ourselves, we had a great time, look at the people that showed up, as opposed to being, here is the things that all you covet, fight over this. It's like the scene with the first Batman movie, like break a frickin'
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Throw on the floor and be like, okay, who's fucking coming? Do you know what I mean? Like, don't do that. Don't do that. Be like, listen, here's a good place of good people. Please come. Those who show up, maybe 9,000 whale beer shows up and everybody goes ape shit. Well, then next year people will want to come, but at the same time, there's still that hipster quotient or whatever you want to argue it's called won't show up because they're not guaranteed the thing that they want to show people. You know what I mean? They'll be like, oh, last year there was good stuff, but I don't know if there's going to be stuff this year, so I don't want to go. You know what I mean? Just be like, put forward a good foot, and I think you'll land on good footing, if that makes any sense.
I agree with you. Can I say two things before I get off? Because I'm going to have to get off of this, unfortunately.
You can say almost anything you want. I say almost because, almost.
I'm going to miss the last 6 hours of this, unfortunately. No. But I enjoyed the first 2 hours. Now, I don't think, I was doing some research while I was listening to y'all, and I don't think the U.S. government knows what malt liquor is, because I think if I called the United States Federal Trade Department of Commerce, the United States Department of Commerce, and I asked 10 different people what is malt liquor, I would get 10 different answers. I don't even think they know. So that's why the regulations are so screwball. No one knows what it is. It's some sort of beer. That's all they know. Secondly, I might even be driving to Canada this summer coming up.
What part do you think?
Remember, Canada's a big place. Where in Canada are you driving?
Oh, that's right. Forgot.
He's going to none of it.
Wherefore art thou, Ontario?
None of it. Nobody wants to go to none of it.
Wow, Nick. I have this trip planned for New York City with a beer reviewer on June 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. But there's also this sideline project of going back to Toronto to go to a Blue Jays baseball game, which I did in 2007. So it's possible.
You're just setting yourself up for disappointment, Jay.
Oh no, it was exciting. it's possible that before I go to New York and meet up with the beer reviewer on the 8th, that I could pass through Ontario and Quebec and go to a Toronto Blue Jays game and maybe go to Montreal and really visit Montreal. I drove through Montreal, but I've never visited it. You know what I mean? There's got to be more to that city than just looking at it from the freeway, the expressway.
Oh yeah, I think you would quite enjoy all the small little breweries and shit going on in there, Jay.
Yeah, Deux de Ciel, La Toile Brassière. You could go to L'Eclipse, the sex clubs, you know.
Wow.
And Rod, if you need a place to crash, brother, you'd be driving right past my house on the way to New York, brother.
You mean you live literally on the highway to Montreal?
No, I'm saying from Louisiana to Pennsylvania, or to New York. You have to travel through Pennsylvania.
Yeah. There's a highway that runs from New Orleans to Quebec, and it's called U.S. Highway 11. And it's an old road built in the 1920s, but I could leave my driveway and just head down. It'd be like driving through city streets and the country roads, and if I follow that sign that says 11, it'll take me to a big sign that says, "Welcome to Canada." Take me about 2 days, but U.S. Highway 11 is fascinating. And you live where?
In northeastern Pennsylvania.
What town?
Scranton, Wilkes-Barre.
Oh, yeah.
And what's your address?
No.
Yeah, you notice he was reluctant to stay because he thought the internet people would come kill him.
Yeah, well, yeah. If somebody wanted me to be dead, I'd be dead by now. So.
What is your social security number, sir?
Yeah,
Name.
378-569er.
Where do you live? Northeast Pennsylvania? Like, that's a huge place. But where?
I've been to Wilkes-Barre.
Wilkes-Barre. Why do you want to know? All right, you just told me to come stay with you. All right, let's see. Wilkes-Barre. Let's see where the... Let's see. I see Reading, Allentown, Scranton.
Scranton is...
Hey, Wilkes-Barre, that's right off of Highway 11. What are you talking about?
It's 81.
Well, that's the new road.
Well, actually, 11 runs right past my house, but you want to take the highway. You don't want to take 11. It'll take you 13 years to get where you're going.
Hey, you know how boring it is to ride on the interstate? I was going to make like a trip out of it. You know what I mean? Like, drive through all the little country towns on the old road. I know it's slow, but it would be fun. You know, sometimes getting there is more fun than, the goal. Getting there is more fun than the goal, whatever that statement is.
Getting there is, I know what you're talking about, but you still don't want to take 19 years to get somewhere that should take 5 minutes,
I understand that, but it's called tourism. And what I'm trying to explain to you...
Preach it, brother!
In 1997...
You don't want to stay at Pat's house as a cat will put his ass in your face.
In 1997, when Alanis Morissette put out that song, Uninvited, I drove...
I'm Canadian, by the way, just for continuity purposes.
I drove on Highway 11 all the way from here to there, to Quebec, and we went to Quebec and we went to see an old fort and everything. It was a cool trip, man. And then we drove back a different route. We went through New York City and all of this, and we weren't going fast, and we weren't eating up the miles, but we were taking our time and driving through all the little towns and seeing all the little interesting places. It was a fun trip, and Wilkes-Barre just happens to be along that route.
I actually want to go to Nova Scotia this summer so that I can actually go to the forts in Hamilton.
Yeah, we visited Nova Scotia 3 years later, and we went to eat at a seafood restaurant in a town called Truro.
I hate to say this, Chad, but Nova Scotia is incredibly bigoted. They have a no albino policy. We ran them all out back in the 1950s.
So what you're saying is I can't come and hang out with you in Spears. Okay. I'll just
go
see
we
Don
can
and Nick.
we can meet on the ferry or something.
You'll get you a
travel. See Don and Nick. Okay.
We kicked all the Cajuns out. That's why we're in Louisiana,
Yeah, that was a good move. That was awesome.
Yeah, we're very disturbed by that. Now,
no, you weren't. You went to Louisiana. What are you disturbed about?
because we came on down to Louisiana. We went to Truro and we ate seafood, and we went to Prince Edward Island, and we went to New Brunswick, to Fredericton.
That must not have been a long trip. PEI.
It was one day.
Yeah. Well, you can see everything you need to see in Prince Edward Island in about an hour.
Yeah, walking.
Yeah.
Man, all this hate-filled hatred. But anyway, I enjoyed it. I don't care. All right.
No, I love Prince Edward Island. I'm not hating. I'm just saying it's a small place.
It
It
is
literally
small.
takes 2 hours to drive from end to end to PEI.
Yeah.
Yeah, we drove from the Confederation Bridge over to the ferry across the Northumberland Strait, and we went down to Nova Scotia. And then we drove along to Truro, and then we went to St. John and stayed overnight. And we went to Moncton.
Moncton.
Yeah, Moncton, and they had a hill, and we went up there backwards.
Oh, Magnetic Hill.
Yeah.
Dumbest tourist attractions.
It's magnetic. Come on now.
My grandmother said, "What's going on? What's happening to the car?"
Surrounding terrain makes it look like you're coasting uphill when you're really rolling downhill.
Yeah, it was fun. And we went to see the river go backwards. You know, the tidal bore. Canada is fascinating. I think.
For Lee. Lee's the most unfascinating thing in Canada.
I am. I'm damn proud of it as well.
Well, I've watched a lot of hours of fascinating Earl Harlock videos, let me assure you. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that I might be driving to Canada, and I have a passport, and so...
Oh. You say reversing river, you mean reversing falls?
No, not reversing falls. There's a place in Canada where the river comes up backwards. I mean, the whole river comes backwards. It's called a tidal bore. In other words, you go to the river. And there's no water in it. It's like
when low tide, when it hits low tide, and the very moment that high tide starts, there's a surge, and that drives a wave up the river.
Yeah. We got to the river. It was empty, right? So then.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had the same thing in. We had the same thing in Port Williams.
Exactly, 10:24 p.m. the tidal bore will arrive, and then you see this wave coming up the river, and then in like literally 2 minutes, the whole river's full of water. I mean, it's really something.
Yeah.
Yeah, the St. John here, we get the reversing falls where they literally the tides get high enough to force water back up the river.
Yeah, I wanted to see that, but unfortunately we couldn't make that one. But I heard about reversing falls, and it made me want to drink beer and talk about beer.
I've actually got a video I did like 3 years ago of that, the reversing falls process. It's one of my most popular. It's more popular than any of my beer reviews.
Yeah, well, I saw a lot of interesting things over there. You know, like So anyway, I really enjoyed the Maritimes, and I enjoyed Quebec and Ontario and Ottawa.
Well, sadly, I'm in Niagara Falls, and nobody wants to come here.
Well, oh wait, time out. I visited Niagara Falls, and we stayed in Niagara Falls. We stayed at a hotel in Niagara Falls.
Oh, there's not like 60,000 of those here.
Yeah, did you know they had hotels in Niagara Falls, Canada? But we stayed there, and then my grandmother, you know, we looked at Niagara Falls, and she said, "Oh, it's really fascinating, but after about 20 minutes, you get sick of looking at it. Let's leave."
She's right, though.
Yeah.
That's what she said. Anyway, well, it was nice talking to y'all, and I might see you in person in June.
Alrighty, good to have you here. Have a
Cheers,
wonderful
Ron.
night, Jay.
Have a good one.
Thank you. And Matthew, I'm going to talk to you about that. I might be driving up that way. Okay. Ooh, Big Eddie.
Who had the Big Eddie?
Ooh, Imperial IPA.
Big Eddie Imperial IPA that is 2 years old.
Wow. Wow. Maybe I'm not getting off of this. No, I am. All right. Well, y'all have a good night.
Alrighty, you too.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, that's good.
From the depth of hell's ocean.
It's quote scary.
It is scary. Also, the best of the Nazi zombie movies.
It is.
I don't think they watched Dead Snow 1 or 2.
Fuck Dead Snow. Dead Snow's not better.
Dead
Sorry.
Snow 2 had the Ruskies though. The Ruskies.
I don't give a shit what Dead Snow 2 had. It's not better than Shockwaves.
It's still like
Wait,
Zombie
wait, how can you have a Nazi movie with Russian Nazi movies? What?
Dead Snow 2 is Red versus Dead. It's Russian zombies versus Nazi zombies.
Oh,
Yeah,
fair
then
enough.
they
That
have-
makes sense. I'm sorry.
Listen, they have to resurrect the Russian zombies to fight the Nazi zombies because otherwise they can't win.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's perfectly logical. No, Shockwaves is the best. It's got fucking Peter Cushing in it playing this aged Nazi.
I picked up this because I got it on eBay for $10. Don't know if it's any good, but $10.
No. No.
Oh, I think I've seen that. What's it about again?
It's about dinosaurs.
Yeah, it's a series that lasted 1 year. It's actually
Yeah,
pretty
seriously,
good if you like that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, for $10 I'll buy it. And I found this on Amazon for I ordered it when it was $15, and I don't want to show it because people are gonna get angry at me. But for 15, I have a weird movie collection, and yeah, no, I'm not gonna show it. I'll put it down.
Oh, come on, show yes. Come on.
Or something?
Come on, bitch.
What is it? Come on.
The Maze Runner.
Oh, that's real smart.
So, how is it?
I haven't watched it yet. I just got it.
Oh, okay.
But I ordered it when it was $15, but when it was a pre-order for $15, so I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll order it.
Whatever. Can it be any worse than the Hunger Games?
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, I don't like the Hunger Games, but I didn't hate it. So for $15,
Have none of these people watched Battle Royale? I mean, come on.
Well, Battle Royale 2 actually made me a little sad because it wasn't nowhere near as good as Battle Royale.
No.
Well, you know what I just downloaded on Blu-ray?
Flash!
I'm blind. I don't see that.
Flash Gordon.
Flash Gordon from the 80s.
Oh, I have that over there.
Was that the cartoon?
No, it's the movie. It's got
live
a
action
movie.
It's got the awesome Queen soundtrack on it. Flash!
It's every one of us. No.
Yeah. We should do we should get you here as early as we can, Lee, and we should just do fucking disturbingly stupid fucking movie fan commentary on all those 80s movies. I have Flash Gordon, I have Shockwave, I have Killer Condom, I have so many stupid movies it's not even funny.
Sounds like a plan.
Or whatchamacallit, you just do like covers. Hot Calculator could do covers.
Well, no, I want Hot Calculator to do some covers too. You had all the names of our singles. Do you remember them all? I need to write lyrics. Oh, you're useless to me. You don't remember any of the singles. I can't write lyrics if I don't know what I'm writing about.
That's what live recording is for. That's what live recording is for. Yeah.
What do we have? We have six of you idiots are still watching us. I don't mean that you're actually idiots, but I'm just saying that there hasn't been a beer topic in like an hour, and there's still
they're all idiots. We got 3 comments here from the idiots. Dullhand Brewing says, "Oh no, that was he already made that comment. I already read that one." Actually, just hold a second. I got a knock on my door.
Tell Scott to put his pants on.
Yeah.
Sounds like a euphemism of poo. I got a knock on my door. I got to go for a sec. I feel like someone's getting swatted right now or something.
No, it was just useless information.
Yeah.
Is Scott telling you the house is on fire?
If it is, I'm not moving. John Critch says, sorry late joining, but had a late shift at work. Time to crack open a Fuller's London Pride and enjoy the rest of the show. Awesome.
I actually almost bought one of those tonight for the show. I had $10 in my hand, and I'm like, what can I buy? Because there was nothing new. So I was only going to spend $10, and I was looking around, and the London Pride just kept looking at me. And then I bought beers that will all probably be at the festival and stuff.
Oh, the London Pride was like, drink me, Chad. Drink me, Chad. Come on, Chad. Pick me up, Chad. Come on, Chad. You know you won't drink me?
This is one of the ones I got. Double Trouble Brewing's Fire in the Rye.
Oh, Chad, you
Why did I
bloody
keep
wop.
that?
You bloody wop. You fucking wop. You scouser fucking cunt. You didn't want to drink it, London Pride. Chris F. Graves says, oh, he's got a topic. A topic on extreme beers. Every time our world has a war, it creates a subculture. We have flappers, hippies, punks, and now hipsters. But the alternative in culture always becomes the norm. Within that, there is playing to the audience, and in a business sense, why not? But what are your thoughts on extreme beers becoming the norm in a scene that will no doubt crash, where only the truly strong will survive?
I don't know if I think extreme beers are going to be the norm as much as there's going to be breweries that only brew extreme beers to be the ones that stay around. I think if you look at the breweries that grow, the breweries that are growing and making big leaps, it's not usually the breweries that focus on extreme beers. It's usually the breweries that focus on good beers that grow and continue to expand. I mean, Mill Street's huge in Ontario. Mill Street makes meh beer, meh by standards. They are the extreme. Bose makes some extreme beers, makes a lot of meh beers. They keep expanding. Cameron's keeps expanding, keeps getting bigger. Nickelbrook keeps expanding, keeps getting bigger. Like all of Ontario's breweries that just keep jumping and jumping and jumping in size make okay beers more than they make extreme.
Yeah, I don't think extreme's really the norm. I think that's still a niche market. Although, I mean, to be fair, the idea of what we consider extreme is probably way different than what they would have considered extreme 20 years ago. I mean,
well, that is very true, yes.
Yeah. I mean, the IPAs and stuff you see now that are the norm, that are, like above 6% even, would have probably been extreme 20 years ago. So it's like, it's a general process. I mean, I don't think we're gonna get to the point where BrewDog fucking 50% fucking shitty weird.
Think the Bismarck or Tactical Nuclear Penguin. Or...
I don't think you're ever gonna see those becoming the norm. So I think the more extreme you see these days are like the weird gimmicky beers, like maybe like a garlic beer or some sort of gimmicky shit. Like I don't know if extreme even really qualifies anymore.
Well, I think when they talk about extreme, they're talking about like huge barrel-aged, like high ABV beers. That's what I think they're talking about when you talk about your 15% plus beers. I think those beer, and there's a ton of those around. Whether you talk about the brewery or you talk about like a bunch of other regular breweries that make big beers like that. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not to fall on an old fable, it's a tortoise versus the hare thing. You know what I mean? Like, there's all these companies going to want to make huge, gigantic, big beers to be like, look at me. But in the grand scheme of things, if you can't make a good Pilsner, if you can't make a good small beer, then that's really showing what you can actually do as a brewer. Like, it's easy to, not that it's easier to make a huge beer, it still takes skill, but it's easier to hide flaws in a gigantic beer.
Well, I mean, that's the reason you don't see milds around as much. I mean, I love milds. The reason you don't see them is you cannot hide brewing flaws in a mild.
Yeah, and so I think in the grand scheme of things, those breweries that can make your basic beer and also does bigger beers, they're just gonna make what they do, and they're gonna watch these companies that just make these gigantic, huge beers, and then once that kind of market falls out, because everything has a kind of ebb and flow to it, they'll see them, they'll kind of laugh because. Yeah. Because in my world, what I want is I want a 15% beer that I want actually a 4% beer that tastes like a 15% beer. That's what I want in my life. You know what I mean? Like I want a big beer that with big flavor that's fantastic that has a low ABV. That's what I love. That's why I like the Dudacil, whatever. That's why I like their beers because they seem to make really big beers in small ABVs. So I think.
So you want Bourbon County Session Stout?
I want Bourbon County flavor, but at 4 to 5% because who wants to sit there and drink a Bourbon County Stout or this and that, and after 3 beers you're done? Like I want to sit around and chat and talk and shoot the shit, but when you're kind of drinking through all that stuff. So I think while big beer is always going to be there, I think breweries that really know what they're doing and they make from bottom to top as opposed to breweries that make from middle to top, I think they'll stay around longer and not struggle as much as the bigger ones.
Well, like I said, you look at Ontario and Mill Street. Mill Street, for the most part, what do they live off of? They live off of their organic lager. They live off of their stock ale. They live off of that stuff. The lemon tea. That's the stuff they make their living off of. And then they do come out with some good solid beers as well.
Latest winter pack had 2 nice surprises.
Yeah. Wellington, for instance, the Welly one-offs are stuff that I really like. The Welly core brands, I'm not a big fan of because they're just so middle of the road, but Wellington just keeps growing too in Ontario. Like, breweries in Ontario seem to have learned what you need to do to become, well, I should say the older breweries in Ontario seem to have learned what they need to do to become a viable business in Ontario.
Yeah, you gotta become more of a sort of a populous sort of brewery where you do have your segment of your repertoire that caters to casual drinkers and stuff like that. That's where you're gonna build your audience, really. I mean, if you're just making extreme stuff, all you're gonna be selling to is the hipsters, really. I mean, and I don't know if you can sustain your brewery.
I'm not a hipster.
Yeah,
I am. Totally.
But yeah, I mean, you see reverse trends too. You don't always see extreme trends. You see like session IPAs and stuff. That's been a bit of a big trend in the last couple of years. Session IPAs and stuff like that.
Sours. How many sours are over like 7 or 8%?
Yeah. So hopefully we'll get to a point where milds become the next big fucking thing, because that'll be really interesting to see who can really do it.
Because if milds becomes a big thing, it's going to show you who actually has a good brewer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy. It's not easy, but it's easier to make big stuff. I mean, you take something that you can detect every flaw. I mean, that's a good frickin' beer,
Well, I mean, there is a lot of people that have tried my beers. There's a lot of people that say that I make good beers. I can't make a good mild. I've tried. I can't do it. And that's just where it is. So, I mean, I bow to the guys that actually make a good mild. They are good at what they do. They are really good at what they do.
What are your favorite people breweries that make like lower ABV beers?
There's not many in Ontario, to be honest with you. Niagara College.
Not even Ontario, just like in general.
Well, again, I'm stuck with what I can buy at the LCBO, correct? So I don't get many milds. I mean, I've probably had 10 to 15 milds in my life because I just can't get them here. And a lot of the ones I've had that I really like are usually English. I mean, the English know what they're doing when it comes to a mild ale. I bought a 6-pack of classic ales from England this winter when they came out for the Christmas pack, and 4 of them were milds and 2 of them were session, and all 4 of those milds were really good milds. Marston's EPA, for instance, was under 4%, and it was an excellent beer with a lot of flavor.
Nice.
Yeah. It's weird because like you go to if you actually go over to England and buy beers there, it's like a lot of their beers aren't necessarily mild in style, but they would classify as a mild just because of the alcohol, because of their taxation on all their alcohol over there, right? So you see like Green King IPA is like 3.5% or something over there on tap, where you get like the exported version here, it's like 5% or whatever, right?
Like 5%.
You need a little help there, Chad? What are
you raking up the garbage, or what are you doing there?
My back scratcher.
Yeah.
That's great.
Just wants
So, have any of you guys ever heard of Modern Drunkard magazine?
No.
Okay. Modern Drunkard magazine is actually, if you I'm telling you right now, write it down and look up their website. They catalog all their magazine articles. It's if you were to mix up Cracked magazine with Beer Advocate, and then throw in a dash of Saturday Night Live, and then somebody else pooped on it. That's basically what it is. It's a satirical magazine based around drinking. It's liquor based more than beer based. But I've been a subscriber for years. It's absolutely hilarious. It's done really nice in this Art Nouveau, 50s style, the propaganda style artwork, and it's a really great magazine.
Okay, now you mention, I think I have heard of that.
It's the best magazine I've been. I can't even tell you how long I've been a subscriber. But they rarely touch on beer. They talk about beer. They touch on beer, but it's more just booze in general based. But they just shipped out their new article, and they send out a picture of the cover. When they send it out, I haven't received it yet, but it's one of the main things on the cover is 10 reasons why the Great American Beer Festival sucks. So I'm totally looking forward to this issue. I can't wait till it arrives, and when it does, I'm definitely going to bring that subject up. But the website is fantastic, full of tons and tons of articles. And it's hilarious. It's probably one of the best written magazines I've ever read in my life.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Looks really awesome. It looks like the old
war propaganda style.
Well, I was going to say, I don't know how many people remember these sort of websites back in the late 90s, early 2000s. They were called EN. They were called Everything Nothing websites.
Okay.
And basically, they were just random people doing satirical articles and stuff like that. It looks a lot the same, almost like it's a redheaded stepchild of one of those.
Yeah, and the funny thing is if you just look at it based on just a traditional website, it's whatever, but it's an actual legitimate print magazine. You know what I mean? That you get hard copies of, which is, and it's a fantastic. It's printed great. The labeling's fantastic. Everything about it's great. So check it out.
Right on. Yeah, I already got it bookmarked. Awesome.
Where do you think I'm going to go right now?
Pooper.
No.
Yeah, drain the lizard in the sink.
You got it.
I know you well, my friend. My friend.
My friends, indeed.
So what have you been drinking lately, Lee?
Not a lot. I've actually just stopped drinking beer for a little while. So.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'm still including the whiskey into my diet, so that's fine.
He's getting his vitamins somehow.
Scotch whiskey, hopefully.
No, this is actually a Canadian Club 100% rye.
Oh,
It's one of their newest releases. It's actually really good, especially for Canadian Club.
Nice.
I actually generally prefer a good rye to a scotch, because I haven't tried any crazy good scotches, but.
Oh, hey!
I used to like rye until I got myself really super sick off of this shit. The worst drunk that I ever had. I used to.
What was it?
I used to like rye up until I had the worst drunk I'd ever had.
What were you drinking? Alberta Premium?
Alberta Springs, really close.
Yeah.
I was the same way with vodka. I used to enjoy vodka, and then I got alcohol poisoning.
Yeah, I heard that story. Where you were young and dumb and wrestling Brock Lesnar and stuff like that, doing all kinds of stupid shit.
Yep.
I was that way with Southern Comfort.
Now, if you had wrestled Brock Lesnar drunk,
I might have won.
you might have won.
Yeah, the Irish anger would have came out then.
I got myself Average Joe drunk on New Year's there.
Ew.
Pretty bad.
Did you just say you got Average Joe drunk?
Yeah.
On New Year's? Oh, I know what you're saying. You're saying your dad had to hold your hair while you puked in the toilet.
No, nobody had to hold my hair up. I kind of had my own barfing in privacy. So.
Yeah, he didn't have barfing in privacy. He had his dad sitting on the bed going, "You pussy!
You
You're saying too much! If I knew how to use this phone, I'd be showing your friends!"
Yeah, I remember that.
Joe's dad was awesome. He was just like ripping on him the entire fucking festival. It was like sitting there talking to him, and every once in a while he'd go, "Hey, look at this guy, fucking Joe, fucking doing this and this shit." And like, yeah, I know.
Actually,
Joe's
the
dad
best part,
really
the best
big
part
on
of
his
Joe's dad is when Joe, like at near the end of the night, we'd be on like our last 2 or 3 beers, and Joe's dad would show up, and he liked me, so he'd sit in the chair and talk to me, and we'd be recording a video, and the whole time we're recording a video, Joe's dad's trolling Joe on the sidelines.
Joe's dad's pretty cool.
You
He's
don't
like-
even know how to pour a beer in your glass.
Like, he hangs out with younger people, but you wouldn't care that he's there, right? So because he fits in.
Yep.
Yeah.
You see where Joe learned it from, though. You see where he.
His dad is a master troll. He really
Yeah.
is.
Troll America.
And I went to a festival with Joe and his dad because I got free tickets. So me, Joe, and his dad went to the festival in the Niagara Craft Beer Festival in St. Catharines. And Joe's dad was trolling like the salespeople. He would troll. He was awesome. It was awesome. I love it. I love it all. And then we'd show him how to use the camera. That was even better. You know who the best person though to have at a beer festival with a camera is Paul. Not Sasquatch, but the cantankerous cook. The cantankerous cook filmed at 2 Toronto beer festivals for me. And both Toronto beer festivals, I'd have 3-minute videos, but I'd have to take like 4 minutes of him zooming in on girls' butts out.
Yeah, I noticed the tour of the Niagara teaching college there or whatever.
Yeah, anytime there was a girl around.
Yeah.
What?
Niagara Creeping College.
Pretty much.
Yeah, he's great at finding every female in the audience.
That's a skill. It's a good skill to have.
At London, we went to London. Me and Paul went to the London Beer Festival too, and he did the same thing. He would follow girls around, but he loved it because at the London Beer Festival, for some reason, people in London know who I am and know who he is. So they'd be like jumping in front of the camera and waving and doing this and stuff, and he was in love. He was like, "Oh my god, boom." Should I drink one more beer?
Why one more? Not more.
I do have to get up at 7 a.m. with the kids.
Oh, gross.
Well,
I gotta be at 7 a.m. too. I'm going here in a minute. I haven't been doing a lot of drinking lately because I just started a new job a week ago. So.
wait, what does everybody do for a living? I don't know. What do you guys actually do for a living?
I work in IT.
Okay.
I am a warehouse monkey for a grocery store, doing graveyard shift shit, unloading trucks, breaking down pallets, putting said pallets on the shelves, making the store look pretty.
I am a bartender, a bar porter, and a warehouse monkey for the biggest employer in Niagara.
Which is
I don't know if I want to say online.
fair enough.
You really want to open with their exact jobs or company they work for because who knows who what.
No, it totally makes sense. I understand.
I do not hide where I work, but I don't openly say it either. You can find me
Makes
almost
sense.
every day of the week in the biggest building in Niagara.
He works for the Canadian chapter of NAMBLA.
Yeah.
Now, let's see it.
Biggest building in Niagara. That's why he works for the hospital.
The NAMBLA Casino. Little children under 13 get in free.
The Man Love Casino. What?
Yep.
Anyway.
Right.
David?
I think we're kind of wrapping down here, aren't
Yeah,
Yeah.
that way. We were wrapping down early too.
we? Yeah.
Well, we actually got through our stuff fast tonight. Our actual topics.
what were your initial topics?
We talked about the 10 most expensive beers in the world, some stuff like breweries and stuff opening up. What else did we even talk about? Oh, that bar that put out the message that they'd rather drink a Sculpin with somebody that enjoys beer than drink anything with somebody that only wants numbered bottles.
Wait, out of that 10 most expensive beers, besides Utopias, has anybody else had any of those? Or?
On the list of 10, no, I hadn't had anything but Utopia on that list.
Okay, just curious.
And I think we pretty much across the board said we wouldn't pay the fucking money for them either.
There was a couple that some of us said maybe to, and I said yes to Utopia because I've had it before, so I know that it's really good, and it is basically a fine, high-end liquor, not a beer. So I would pay that for it if I had the money.
Utopia put that kind of hype around it. You might want to try it, but
there's a difference between Sorry. Go ahead. I apologize.
I was just going to say that I might want to try it, depending upon how much it is. I know that a guy offered me a bottle of $400, and I didn't even respond.
and that was the point I was going to bring up. If you could get it at MSRP, which is what, $150? That's what MSRP.
I think in Ontario, I believe it sells for like $125, $135. Is Greg still here? How much does it sell for, Greg? He's not answering. He's not really here.
But in the United States, I know general MSRP is $150, but you cannot get it for less than like $2 and change.
Yeah, so, it sells cheaper in Ontario than it does in the US.
15 in Ontario.
Sorry?
Yes.
115 in Ontario.
Okay.
At 150 all day, not all day, but I buy bottles on the regular for 150. 225 is typically what I can get it at, and usually if it's that, it's been like split between a bunch of people. Just be like, hey, you know what I mean? Let's split it, and yada yada yada. You know.
Yeah, I wasn't online earlier when you were talking about all those fancy beers, but like I said on the comment on your Facebook post or whatever, just. It's one of those things where most of those beers I'd probably tell you no, I wouldn't spend that money on. But if all of a sudden somebody came up to me and said, hey, I've got this rare beer, it's like that stupid Cunahan raspberry beer. If somebody put one right in my face and said, here, give me $30 for this, I probably would, even though I think it's a complete waste of money.
Well, not just that. I mean, I've gone with friends like split 4 ways a 1970 Thomas Hardy for like $70. So that way, like each of us are getting like an ounce and change, and then it's it's $20 a person just to make an experience. You know what I mean? So there's a difference between like footing the bill for a whole bottle of something as opposed to 4 or 5 people splitting something, and that's I think where people actually taste this shit beyond rich motherfuckers.
1970s Thomas Hardy for $70. That would be good. Jeez.
That was like years ago.
Oh fuck. I'd pay that.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was spoiled. It was bad. It actually turned, but it was still cool.
Really?
Oh, I have a lot of beers that have turned that mean you can drink. So don't worry. I have the original Labatt Blue and High Life and everything else. Just waiting.
Got a bottle of
buddy.
who says Alpine from the 70s and the stuff you can bring it up and hey.
I have a Alpine and a Stubby too.
It could be the same one, but this one will open.
I also have a Schooner and a Stubby.
Oh, gross. I like to find a 10-penny.
I have one.
Oh fuck, really?
Yeah, 1 second. You guys keep talking.
All right.
Oh,
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, like seeing like what was it? Moosehead made 10-penny or somebody made it. I remember seeing the bottle caps around. I'd love to try that, even though it's nowhere near what it probably was because it's old. But I'd like to just find a Thomas Hardy to try, but just to say I tried it.
Let me see what I can do. I could the place I usually get them at. Like I've been pulling them out of the place where I usually get them at, they said they're out of it, but sometimes they just say that just to be assholes. So I'll go back there and they do. They totally. I'll be like, oh, this is our last one. And I go back next time. I'm like, got any Hardee's? They're like, yeah, we have a bunch. I'm like, okay, fuck it. You know what I mean? But like, if I can get one, I'll put one on the side, and if I make it up, I'll pigeonhole your name on it.
Right on. Right on. Have to take a look, see what I've got. There you go. That's what I'm thinking of. Nice.
That is really old because the last labels I saw for Tinpenny were super different than that.
If you drink that tonight, you're probably not getting up at 7 a.m. with your kids.
No, he's probably getting up at 3 a.m. to shit.
Yeah. No, you're gonna have at 5 a.m. You're flying a magic carpet to like Candyland, and you're like, fucking, like you're hallucinating. There's shit going on. You don't even know what's going on.
Just so you guys know, as of right now, where my finger is, as of right now, is where all the sediment has hit.
That's where they keep the heroin. Don't get rid of that, man. That's where they keep
Get that glass to geek.
Just remember when you actually open it up and pour it, you swirl the bottle after you get 2/3 of the glass.
You want to make sure you get all the floaties in the glass.
Yep.
It's actually one of those ones where I'd probably pour it through a coffee filter. I can't wait to open it with somebody, though, because I want to put that cap on the fridge.
Maybe we'll do it in May. How's that?
Yeah.
Fun. I do it.
Person take a shot so nobody dies.
Love that fitty.
Wow.
Oh no! No way! No, that's.
Watch this. Ready? Ready? Because it's a green bottle. You can see it. Oh, I'm just gonna keep talking. Look at that.
That's rat poison.
Look at that. Look at it all.
Fun fact, when it was originally released, the bottle was not green. It's just green now.
Alpine?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
They
exactly
brought back a label for their anniversary cans.
What else do we have in this box? Olympia Gold?
Huh. What's that from?
Actually, it looks like a newer label.
I don't even know what Olympia Gold is. 12 fluid ounces, 355. Olympia Brewing Company.
Yeah.
There we go.
Olympia
Yeah,
St. Paul.
there's Nick with it. Wow.
Stubby. Completely corroded cap.
Jeez.
Not
How
very
about-
much sediment.
How about a Buffalo Bills beer? Oh, Schaefer.
Schaefer. Wow.
All shaver.
That's a little bit 50 again. Oh wait, this one's awesome. Why is this one awesome? Because this is a clear bottle.
Oh.
Miller High Life.
Wow.
Look at the bottom of the bottle now that I've poured.
Oh, shit.
It's like cloudy and brown. It's like, this is a clear bottle. Ah!
Explain this one, Jay.
I don't think you're living the high life after that.
Labatt's.
That's Pilsner.
Ah. Get the Reverend in for that one.
Plastered name blue over it.
Schooner.
Scooter.
Nice.
Holy fuck. That's old.
Oh, that's the 10 penny again. Tuborg Gold.
Wow.
Wow. Nice.
Turkey. Players. Ooh.
Also known for cigarettes.
Half the calories.
Ooh.
Moosehead Pale Ale.
Nice. Ooh, that'd be cool.
Oh, this is an interesting one for anyone from around here. because this was the last time, and actually this year, Garden Brewers is going to be at the festival. They're going to be the first brick and mortar brewery in Hamilton to open in a while because they're going to open before Arts and Science. But Hamilton's own Hamilton Mountain.
Wow.
And then we have some champagne.
Champagne.
J. Rogert.
American champagne at that, so it's not actually champagne.
They're just using the name because it has to be from the Champagne region of
How
France.
about this? If you weren't scared of cans, because I won't drink it because it's a can. 1979 Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I would not drink that at all. That would be dangerous.
Look at the top.
You get tetanus just from drinking it.
Gross.
What else do we have down here from this box of stuff from my friend's dead father? J.R. Ewing's Private Stock.
Oh, that's awesome. There's like a new whiskey that came out in the U.S. that's J.R. Ewing's.
Yeah, except it's a really cheap bourbon and kind of annoys me because you'd figure a J.R. Ewing bourbon would be something really good quality.
No, I wouldn't figure that at all. Honestly, it's a cash in on a
Casey's Lager beer.
But come on, a billionaire would have to be drinking really high-end bourbon.
Yeah, he's dead now though.
Not drinking any bourbon now.
Oh, we also have the team of the decade, the 1980s Pittsburgh Steelers.
They were sort of overestimating how well they do in the next decade.
Early proclaimed themselves as team of the decade in 1980.
That's like this book calling itself the ultimate, complete, and definitive guide on porters and stouts.
You know what I thought was disgusting about that book? The introduction is from Stephen Beaumont, so somehow he got Stephen Beaumont, or he stole his intro, but he got Stephen Beaumont to either write for him or he stole it to get better sales.
Well, no, here's the thing. I think it's not really Chad's book. He's just sort of one of the collaborators in it, and I don't know how he... I think the only reason he's got his name as one of the authors is because most of his reviews are in it. That's about it. But other than that, it's not like it's really his book so much as he contributes a bunch of reviews. And most of them were just reviews he took off his written blog or whatever and rewrote a couple of them. Although it's funny. Of course, I can't scan the entire book for errors and stuff, because it's actually a fairly thick book and there's a lot of shit in it. But the Propeller Porter that I sent him, he's got his review from years ago, and the ABV is listed wrong. And he's got a picture of the Propeller Porter with the review that actually states the actual ABV, which I found kind of amusing. Also, the book does not have a fucking appendix. There's no appendix in it at all. You cannot look for a specific porter or stout and then jump right to it. You have to actually thumb through the book physically and find shit. And I'm kind of perplexed by that, because every fucking beer book I've ever read worth its shit at the very least has a fucking appendix that you can, and usually divided by country in style, where you can just jump right to it. But no, I guess you just have to thumb through it alphabetically and hope for the best. But I'll be reviewing that very, very soon.
I don't believe you.
All right, I think I'm gonna head out, guys. I gotta get up in the morning.
Yeah, I gotta jump out here too, I think.
Well, fine. Everybody's leaving me, so I'm gonna go offline. I'm gonna chat to people still because they're here and they're cool. Just so you can fuck off.